What do you say, Johnny Mac?
Morning, Jules, Johnny, Paul,
Al, Steve, Jim.
Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh, my.
You got suspended on your Twitch account.
What'd you do? What do you have to do to get suspended? Never mind for a week. Although Ambien, I give you credit, you didn't get fired. It's very tough to thread the needle these days and just get suspended.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jules. I was all in. I was rooting for Taylor too. Even though Fleetwood would have been his first tour win, I wanted the Canadian to win. Par 5, 4-iron off the tee, can't hit it in the fairway. And then can't hit a 9-iron back in the fairway.
Just take a driver and pound it.
Well, it can't hit driver on 18 because all that water.
Yeah, I guess. But still, just pound it.
Hadwin definitely got railed.
Yeah, that guy's going to be signed by the CFLs today.
Argonauts need a linebacker. They've got their guy.
So funny. Of all the people rushing the grounds, he tackles the guy with the champagne. I love how Hadwin went up and apologized to him. That's
very Canadian.
That's so Canadian. Even Hadwin's wife joked about it.
Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks so much for being with us. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much. Mark, hope you had a great weekend. How are you?
I'm doing well. Did have a good weekend. You know, the daughter had a sleepover. She had a friend over for the weekend, so we had chaos with double 9-year-old girls in the house, which was always a lot of fun. And then, you know, mix in a little sports around it. But a pretty low-key weekend with no games Saturday or Sunday. Watched a lot of golf this weekend.
I do have a question. What's bedtime for a 9-year-old sleepover, especially with no more school? Is it basically you let them stay up till they fall asleep?
Pretty much. I mean, we told them lights out at 10:30.
Okay. What time do you think they stop giggling?
11:30.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
We had a pretty early get up. We had obligation Sunday morning, so we were up and rolling by 7, and everybody was up and in good spirits and no complaining, which is huge.
So the young lady who came over for the sleepover, she joined you at church?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's impressive. All right. Good to see. Well, we said it on Friday. We said, listen, we got game 4 of the NBA Finals Friday night, and then that's it. And we're not going to have Sunday night basketball. And then we're going to have Game 4 Saturday night, and we ain't going to have another game for another 72 hours. You know, these athletes have never been in better shape. The travel's never been easier, and we can't give them any more time off than we are right now.
Got to carry these things out as long as we can, David.
We cannot cater to them enough. But now it's just a matter of, do the South Florida teams have anything left? Or are they spent? It was a good run, boys. Thanks for the last couple months. But you'll be playing golf and fishing before the week is out. That's what it looks like. We'll see if it plays out that way. But listen, this past weekend was a little bit of a tease for those of you that are into golf, because you almost got primetime golf yesterday. I mean, you got evening golf, but I mean, it got within like 20 minutes of primetime golf. And we got a U.S. Open coming up on the West Coast. We're going to have primetime golf Thursday through Sunday. I don't know if Mark Miller will show up for work Friday or Monday, because this is either first or second favoriteest thing in the world. Primetime golf or British Open morning golf.
Really?
Yeah.
It's 6:04 on Monday. You're going to hit me with this kind of a question?
Coming out of the hopper high and hard.
I'm barely on my second cup of coffee here, David. I don't know how I'm supposed to give you an answer. Boy.
I know.
It is so 1 and 1A in my book.
I know. Was it Tigers, Torrey Pines Open? Was that like the first time that it kind of hit all of us? It's like, man, this primetime golf, this is, 10 o'clock at night and Tiger down the stretch of a major. This is, this is pretty cool. Can we play all our golf on the West Coast? How many majors can we have in California? We can just go up and down the state. It's a big ass state, right? Any way we can get the Open Championship to try it? No? All right. Think Augusta would do it? No. All right. Maybe the USGA, PGA should have all your championships out here.
Because of my hours now, the British Open may get a slight edge, because there is nothing like waking up at 3 a.m. and having live golf on.
Mark, I'm sorry. It's the Open Championship.
You're darn right it is.
Continue.
But that might have a slight edge. But, we'll see recency bias on Monday morning, how I'm feeling, because I'm fired up about the Open. Fired up about a little primetime West Coast golf this week.
I know. And it's a shame the NBA Finals. For obvious reasons, was hoping for the Heat to get a split and was really hoping this sucker could go 7. Because I would have loved to have seen, what would the sports fan have done? We could have had a Game 7 of an NBA Finals Sunday night, and then the back 9 of a U.S. Open Sunday night, going head to head. Now, it's unlikely we're going to get that. Tell you what, though, if the Heat could just give us one more, we'd have first round primetime golf of the U.S. Open against Game 6 of the NBA Finals on Thursday night. Just saying. And if the Panthers could steal one more, then we'd have round 2 in primetime against Game 6 of Lord Stanley's Cup, head to head.
I would like to nominate that for a poll question. Just very simply, what South Florida team has a better chance to force a Game 6?
Boy. The Heat can't score, and Kachuk is playing with one arm.
And even if he had 2, they've been outplayed badly in this series. They're not it's clear who the better team is.
Yeah.
It's painfully obvious that they're deeper, that they're better, and that the Florida Panthers are peskier because they don't go away. You have to give them an immense amount of credit for a team that seems to get outplayed. That game 4, they were outplayed for the first 35 minutes, and yet they're only down a goal. They are remarkable in their ability to stay in games when it seems that they're getting outplayed badly.
Well, they got the better goalie, and I will say their top 2 lines are probably ever so slightly better than Vegas's top 2 lines, but Vegas's third and fourth lines and defensive core are just clearly superior to what the Panthers bring to the table. And now that the Panthers' arguably best player is hurt, and it's very apparent, then it's tough. You got to hope, quite frankly, that Bob can just steal a game. Can Bob steal a game and get this thing back to South Florida? And let's just see what can happen.
But what you have been pointing out is not been stopped. Vegas seems to be alone in the high slot 10 times a game. I don't think that's an exaggeration.
No.
Of how many times in the high slot you're finding a Vegas forward, a Vegas defenseman wide open and getting grade A scoring chances from that spot.
And it would take a court order to have a Panther alone in the slot or high slot with the puck. Yes, that's a clear difference between the two. And this just in, the Heat can't score. So I'm kind of curious tonight, will we have a Tyler Hero sighting? I'm just wondering. Because they haven't ruled him out yet. And are they desperate enough right now that they're like, heck, who cares if he can shoot or dribble? Half the guys we're putting out there right now can't do it either. The Celtics must be watching like Davis and Strus and going, hey, Martin, and going, where the hell was this?
But I think you're right, David. I think I'd take 1.5 hand Tyler Hero over Max Strus, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Martin Strus right now is struggling. Seriously, the Celtics are watching this. Where did you guys go? Stop going to the club. Go home and get some rest. You guys look terrible. I don't think there's ever been a team. I don't know if it's possible, since I don't think any team in a conference final was up 3-0 and was forced to play a game 7. It's not often, Mark, you can have a team in the NBA finals who's lost 6 of 8.
Right. Right. And obviously 7-9 if Denver gets it done tonight.
Right.
To finish it.
And let's face it. I mean, if it wasn't for the fourth quarter of game 2, this series is over. I mean, the fourth quarter of game 2 is the only thing that has us having basketball tonight. So we'll see if the Heat can ham and egg another one. Keep it close enough early. And then, I don't know, maybe Denver just is too excited for the occasion.
Well, what Felipe said on Friday, I believe, is still evident. Hey, Miami Heat, let's play a third quarter. Here's just a novel idea. Let's come out of the intermission and not get our doors blown off in the third quarter where the game's too far out of hand.
It's been like that all season, Mark. I've watched it, and it's painful because they dominate the fourth. They've lost 2 fourth quarters in this series, one by 10 and one by 1. They tied the other one, and then they won the other one. Which, by the way, the one that they lost by 10, the fourth quarter they lost by 10, they ended up winning that game. So it's painful.
No, you've got your numbers wrong. They won that fourth quarter by 11. They won the fourth quarter of game 1 by 10. They won the fourth quarter of game 2 by 11. The 2 games in Miami was where Denver kind of turned the tide in the second half of both. But what is apparent is Miami in their 3 losses has scored 93, 94, and 95.
You're absolutely right. I mixed that up.
Where Denver has scored between 104 and 109 in all 4 games. And the one time, Mark, before the series started, said magic number is 110. Can Miami keep Denver under it? And they have, albeit barely, 2 108s and a 109. But one of the 108s, Miami got to 111 and walked out of the gym with a win. That seems to be the line in the sand right there. 110. First one to it wins.
And Miami now can't even get into triple digits for crying out loud.
Exactly. So game 5, tonight, and hockey tomorrow night, and that could be it. Hoops and hockey could be over. This glorious South Florida sports run, which started with FAU and Miami men's basketball, could be over by tomorrow night. Oh, no, wait. There's more. There's the Miami Marlins.
You're darn right there are.
And you're laughing at me saying we should put some shekels on the Dolphins. The Marlins are 8 games over 500. There's something bat blank crazy going on over there.
What's in the water? That's what I want to know.
Right. I am betting money on the Dolphins.
But I was thinking about this in the drive-in. Don't do it to win the division. The Panthers just snuck in. The Heat just sneak in. The Marlins will probably be a wild card, if anything. You can't bet for the division.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
$25 and 14, David. I don't know if it was before this season or before last season. Go Raiders. 25 and 14. That's what the Rays did in those 39 games.
Not only that, they extended their lead from 3.5 to 5.5.
And they're playing 700 flipping baseball.
The Marlins are the third best team in the NL, and it has nothing to do with the cover athlete of MLB The Show 23.
Or the best pitcher in baseball last year.
Right. I mean,
I will say, though, they have pulled some wins like yesterday. Did you see how they won yesterday?
Yeah.
I mean, they had that game, they were down 4 runs at home with 2 outs and nobody on in the 9th, came back and won a game. I mean, they have had some wins this year. I will say, what does the general manager have to do for a contract extension?
Yeah, they're winning games the way the Mets find ways to lose them.
Yeah.
Wow, do they look like a little league team at times?
Whew. Well, not only that, Paul, the Wake Forest Alabama baseball score, it was something like, I don't know, 6-3 or going to the 8th or 9th inning of that game. Yeah, they scored. It was 12, excuse me, it was 12-5 going to the 8th. They scored 6 in the 8th, 4 in the 9th. They are the number one team in the country.
Stanford's pitcher threw 156 pitches.
It's where I was actually going next. Okay. For all of us who have longed for a day, they were facing elimination. He was mowing them down. He had 135 pitches through 8. They had an 8-3 lead, but they had blown a 3-run lead in the 9th the day before to lose. And so the manager's like, well, you ain't pitching for a week.
Twins were up 6-1, blew a double play, and lost the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, ambient, Felipe's a Heat fan. Okay. It just makes our life better as a Florida-based show that we have a Florida team playing in the finals.
I mean, I did pick the Nuggets in 5, by the way, Andy.
Right. And I picked them in 6. I mean, you know. In fact, I don't think we picked against the Nuggets in any of their 4 series.
I did against the Lakers.
Oh, okay.
Back when I thought the league was still fixed. But it's obviously not. They would have never given us Nuggets in Miami had it been fixed.
No. Boston certainly would have won Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The starting 5 coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Mark, something happened yesterday that is, well, something really we haven't seen in 35 years minimum in baseball, damn near 50 years. Basically, well, I'll amend that. We haven't seen anything like it, in my estimation, since at least 2001.
Okay.
If your arm is still attached to your body, you are going out there and you are pitching. In the modern day world of baseball, pitch counts, all right, can't throw a certain pitch at a certain age and this, that, and the other thing. The head coach of Stanford yesterday said, I don't know what to tell you. We're facing elimination. Unless that kid's arm falls off, he's pitching. Did you see the stat line for Quinn Matthews of Stanford yesterday?
I didn't see the name. I just happened to see how many pitches he threw because they didn't bother to put his name on the crawl. They just showed Stanford facing elimination. Pitcher throws 156 pitches.
There you go. There you go. Yep. Now, for the rest of the story, I do think it was important to mention that on Saturday, Stanford took, I think it was a 3-run lead to the 9th inning against Texas. And their bullpen gave it up, and Texas won. And this is a best of 3 super regional. So just like that, you're facing elimination. So now here they are heading to the 9th inning with a 5-run lead. And he's thrown 135 pitches. But Mark, he's got like 14 strikeouts. I mean, he's mowing them down. So the Stanford head coach said, "How you feel, son?" "I feel fine, Skip." "Well, okay." And so he goes out there, a couple more strikeouts, 21 more pitches, 156 pitches, 16 strikeouts. I mean, this is Randy Johnson throwing 7 innings in Game 6 of the 0-1 World Series against the Yankees, and then coming out of the bullpen the next day and throwing 2 more innings in Game 7 in relief of Schilling. You know, this is Hershiser starting games 1 and 3 with a rain out in between against the Mets, and then coming out of the bullpen to get the final out of Game 4 in extra innings. This is Louis Tion on 3 days rest in the 75 World Series, throwing a 154 pitch complete game when the Red Sox were down 2-1 and absolutely needed a win.
156, huh?
Yep. So if you're a Major League Baseball team, did the kid's stock go up? Or are you like, "Oh, I ain't touching that kid. At some point, that arm's just going to go."
Oh, the stock went way down.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm all over the kid.
I'm guessing he wasn't a pro prospect anyhow. If he was, I don't think it helped him at all.
Well, I'm drafting him.
Pitches.
I'm drafting him. First off, he's left-handed, I believe, isn't he? But I'm drafting him. So Stanford head coach is just going to get all kinds of grief.
Absolutely.
They're playing Texas today. Whoever wins goes to the College World Series in Omaha. Now I'm hoping Stanford wins because I want to see Quinn Matthews pitch in Omaha.
Eight hits, 3 runs, 16 Ks. Complete game.
Complete game.
Only walked 1.
Complete game.
156 pitches, and you only walk 1 guy.
Mhm.
That is, I think, the most impressive part about it.
135 after 8. 135. You and I know the FGCU head coach very well. When he had Chris Sale, and you're pitching just once a week. He was the Friday night starter, so there'd be a week in between starts. So you'd get 5-6 days rest in between starts. And Dave Tollett, they call him Toe. Toe had an absolute maximum. I will not let him go above. And it was $130. Will not let him go more than 130. And I think he pitched like a complete game against a ranked team on the road in which heading to the 9th, it was going to get real close. And I think he ended up throwing like 131. But basically, that was it. This kid was past it through 8. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. My bullpen through batting practice yesterday. Kid, how you feeling? I feel fine, Skip. Okay. Don't let me get in your way. Ah,
And so it all have been determined, but they go against Texas today or tonight, and Southern Miss and Tennessee got one more, and everybody else has had tickets punched to the College World Series.
yep. Including the Gators, who after facing elimination in the regionals have won 5 straight. You know, those first-round draft picks on the mound have looked like first-round draft picks. That helps. It really does for the Gators. Big attendance for college baseball also over the weekend. That's college softball, college baseball. They're doing well. We can just somehow find a way to move the college baseball games along a little bit. I think a clock is needed.
Think we'll get there?
The
college game likes their games to last forever.
I know. This is where
college
I think
can last forever. College baseball lasts forever. College football lasts forever. And without a commissioner in front of sports in college, I don't see how it changes.
Well, this is where the 4-letter network, I think, be the only one that could get it changed. They're the one televising most of college baseball. The SEC is far and away the most popular conference for that sport. They, of course, own that network. And so I think if that conference were to start it and enforce it, I think the rest of the sport would follow. But are you okay with the kid throwing 156, or do you think the Stanford head coach needs to be taken out back?
David, I'm going to kind of parse this because I don't know enough about Quinn. What is his last name?
Matthews.
Quinn Matthews. I know nothing about Quinn Matthews other than he threw 156 pitches over the weekend. If Quinn Matthews is a legitimate Major League Baseball prospect, then his coach did him a disservice. If he is not, and he could be a senior that could be close to the end, and this is it, then I have no problem with it. But I don't know what Quinn's future holds. It's a lot of pitches for someone if he's going to play minor league baseball.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I will try to look up whether or not Quinn Matthews is considered a pro prospect or not. But all I know is none of us want to come out of the game, right?
And obviously neither did he. And it's an admirable job. 8-3 final in that game, and they kept him in.
By the way, he was drafted last year in the 19th round by the Rays. So he's a fringe prospect because the draft's only 20 rounds these days. Left-handed pitcher.
Might be an opener one day. Because the Rays haven't stopped either, and we'll talk about them coming up in a little while as well, as they finished a big chunk of their schedule that was important, and they did very well. The starting 5 is next on Miller and Moulton.
Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
You had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ball at the end of his contract, he's president and general manager. It's basically, I mean, he's got that job for as long as he wants it.
And in a league, I mean, no offense, Paul, in a league where there's an actual salary cap and he doesn't adhere to it.
Right.
I mean, he spends more than any team. The joke for the longest time when I was in the league was, could we just get him as Kelly Cup so everybody can not spend so much damn money?
Well, ambient, it definitely go get your gear. How about the run Kroenke's on? Rams, Avs, Nuggets. Boom, boom, boom. Pretty good 16 months he's got going.
Did something I don't normally do last night. I watched the Tony Awards.
So without the writers, how was their material?
Terrible. They didn't have any. They were it was actually pretty funny that, you know, they did a lot of numbers, so there wasn't a lot of, and they basically said, we're winging this. There's nothing on the screen other than wrap it up. You know, I mean, they you know, but they did a huge number, and the main reason I watched, the kid I went to high school with was nominated for Tony. He didn't win.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he performed. It was just kind of, you know, kid.
Wow.
I sat next to the kid in chemistry class. I mean, he's a huge deal on Broadway.
That's awesome.
But he was the lead in, I guess, Into the Woods, which was one of the nominated for everything. It didn't win.
Heidi's dad, where are you going to go? And they're only like 4 out.
I know. Because they play in the Central.
Yes, they do. Either one, by the way.
Oh, that's why I just said the Central, David. I was not specific with that.
Either one.
The Guardians are 3 games below 500, yet a game and a half back.
Correct. There are 10 teams in those 2 divisions. How many are over 500? 3.
That's incorrect.
The
2.
The Twins are not over 500?
The Twins are not over 500. The Twins are 500.
Ah.
It's a trick question.
I'm curious, what are the Reds going to do when Votto comes back here the next couple of weeks? They're going to play him? They're going to DH him? Are they going to say, thanks, Joey, it's been fun? Felipe, did you party Friday night?
Oh, yeah. You know, win or lose, the city of Miami never sleeps.
I think there's another city
Still a party.
that claimed it first, but okay.
Yeah, I won't say that specifically, but it's always a fiesta in Miami.
There we go.
Win or lose, there's always a party.
Hey,
Always people dancing.
You know, don't you have to take a shot at Max Homa in the Open?
West Coast.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Here we go.
That's a good one.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. A lot went on this weekend. You may not have been paying attention. That's why we're here. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Denver can win the NBA title tonight. Up 3-1. They're hosting Game 5 against the Heat. They're a 9-point favorite, 8:30 on ABC. Nuggets are 9-1 at home. That one was the last time they played at home. Miami's only win in the series. Heat are 7-5 on the road in these playoffs. Heat, whenever they've scored more than 95 points in this series, they've won. So we'll see what they can do tonight. Will Tyler Hero play tonight? The Heat suddenly have gotten very quiet on the Tyler Hero front. I have a feeling we're going to see him. When do you play him, by the way, if you're Spo? Do you throw him in early, right? Just cannonball into the deep end? Or do you save him for when you're down double figures and hope he's got a miracle in him? I mean, seriously, when do you play the guy?
David, if he's ready to play, I may not start him, but I'm going to put him in pretty early.
He'd have lost 6 of 8, by the way. Remember, they lost 3 of their last 4 to Boston. They've lost 3 out of 4 to Denver. French Open. Novak Djokovic makes his claim for being the greatest of all time. More on that in a bit. But he beat Casper Ruud in straight sets, although it took over 3 hours. That's what how those points take forever. It's grand.
A human rain delay.
Well, Ruud said when he gets in his groove, it's like playing against a wall. He's the only man to win 23 Grand Slams. He broke the tie that he currently has with Rafa, and considering Rafa's out for the rest of the year. And he has already said next year's, in all likelihood, my last year playing. Many people feel now that Novak will end up number 1 all-time on the men's side. 23 majors, the same number as Serena, oh, by the way. 1 behind Margaret Court Smith, who was played in the amateur era and the pro era and won 24 majors. Oh, by the way, he just turned 36 and he's halfway to the slam. Next up, Wimbledon. He's only won that 7 times. Djokovic also becomes the only male to have won all 4 majors at least 3 times. 10 Australian, 7 Wimbledon, 3 French, 3 U.S. He's won the last 3 majors he's been allowed to play in. He wasn't allowed to play in the U.S. Open last year because of our COVID restrictions, and Novak, well, he didn't get the shot. Remember, kept him out of the Australian last year, kept him out of the U.S. Open last year. Remember, he got disqualified a couple years ago at the U.S. Open. He inadvertently hit a lineswoman with a ball, okay? And it was an accident, okay? But he got disqualified. He was the overwhelming favorite to win the U.S. Open that year, and he was already halfway through the field. I mean, just saying, 23 could be more like 25, 26. All right, let's get to Major League Baseball. Mark, this just in. The Rays are really good.
Yes, they are.
So they had the big showdown series at home against Texas, 2 best teams in the league. Well, Rays took 2 out of 3. Shane McClanahan You can pencil him in as the All-Star game starter right now, can't you? 7 innings. He improved to 10-1 on the season. Wander Franco with a 3-run homer in the 8th for the icing on the 7-3 Rays cake. Tampa Bay's 48-20. Remember when they got off to the great start, Mark? They were 23-6. And what did everybody say?
Hadn't played anybody.
Right.
Beating up on the Sisters of the Poor of Major League Baseball.
Right.
And then they had a long stretch of games where at the time when it started, every team they were playing was above 500. They had 39 games over the course of 13 series.
And I think when they played these 39 games, 36 of them were against teams above 500. I think only the Mets had fallen below 500 when the Rays played them. So in that 39-game stretch, did you see what the Rays went?
25-14.
And they had a 3-game lead in the division when the 39-game stretch started. And their lead in the division now is 5.5.
I'm just fascinated now of how many Rays make the All-Star game. I know All-Star games don't matter, but because none of them will get voted in as starters. Because it's a popularity contest. So no one gets in as a starter probably, other than maybe the pitcher.
Well, you got to figure 3 of them are a lock, right? McClanahan, Franco, and Arozarena.
I think Diaz should go as well.
I know, but... So there's one other story, though. We did throw out a subplot with the Rays-Rangers series. 3-game series at the Trop, a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. And we asked the question, would they draw 60,000 people? 20,000 a game for the 3-game series. Mark, the over-under was 60,000. The ballots are in. Which way you going?
I did not look at one attendance number from the weekend and watched 2 of the 3 games.
Okay.
With that being said, I'm going to go under.
Felipe, very quickly. Over, under?
Over.
Under. Barely. 59,448 for the 3-game series against the Rangers, and we thank you. Drive home safely. Only one of the 3 games drew over 19,000, and that was yesterday. They had 23,000 for Shane McClanahan and the boys. So just under 60,000 for the 3-game series. The Marlins went to the south side of Chicago and took 2 out of 3. In dramatic fashion, I might add. They scored 2 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. Beat the White Sox 6-5. Brian De La Cruz with a 2-out, 2 RBI double to give the Marlins a 6-5 win. They're 8 games over 500. 8 games.
Jorge Soler adding 2 home runs also.
The Marlins, I believe, help me out, Mark. Do they have the 3rd best record in the National League?
Only the Diamondbacks and the Braves have a better record than the Miami Marlins in the National League. They are currently tied for the 3rd best record in the league with the LA Dodgers.
And the payroll between the Dodgers and Marlins is very similar. And by similar, okay, I mean the Dodgers outfield and the Marlins entire roster.
Right. Not to mention the Mets, Padres, and Phillies, who the Marlins are much better than as well.
Right. They're all below 500 pretenders. How about them Marlins? The Nats beat the Braves 6-2, snapping Atlanta's 7-game winning streak. Braves still 3.5, however, ahead of the Marlins. Andrew McCutchen, by the way, joined the 2000 club. That's a nice career, don't you think?
Absolutely.
2,000 hits in the majors. Pirates have a 1-game lead in the Central. They beat the Mets 2-1, who have lost 8 of 9. They have a 1-game lead because Oakland swept Milwaukee. You heard me. The Oakland A's on the road have won 5 in a row.
Brings their season record to 17-50.
That's right. Red Sox took 2 of 3 from the Yankees. They held the Yankees to just 3 hits and a 3-2 10-inning win. Phillies have won 7 of 8. They beat the Dodgers 7-3. Did you see how Arizona swept Detroit yesterday? Probably not, because the game was on Peacock. Arizona scored 4 in the 9th to win their 5th straight, 7-5. The Diamondbacks have a 3.5 game lead in the West. Second best record in the National League. Actually, I think they're tied with the Braves for the best record. What in the wide world of sports is going on here? Arizona and the Marlins. And the Pirates are leading the Central. Detroit's lost 7 in a row. Baltimore swept KC 11-3. They're 5.5 back of the Rays. Cleveland shut out Houston 5-0. They're just 1.5 game back of the Twins because the Twins blew a 6-1 lead in Toronto and lost to the Jays 7-6. Don't look now. The Cincinnati Reds are an exciting young baseball team on a roll. They went into St. Louis and took 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. 4-3 is the final. They're only like 4 back in the NL Central. Considering 83 wins might win that thing, don't rule them out.
In the Central Divisions, there are a combined 2 teams above 500.
Out of 10.
They're both in the National League.
So the Padres took a 4-3 lead to the 9th in Colorado. And it's raining. Colorado hits a homer to tie it. The umpires go, all right, we got to stop this. It's raining too hard. 85-minute rain delay. First batter after the rain delay. Homers again for Colorado. They win 5-4. San Francisco committed 4 errors and still beat the Cubs 13-3. Angels beat Seattle 9-4. Ohtani with 3 hits. North of the border, Canadian Open, Nick Taylor. He's from Canada. A countryman hadn't won this sucker since 1954. He rolls in a 72-foot eagle putt on the 4th playoff hole to win his National Open. Adam Hadwin, also Canadian, running onto the green with champagne. He's going to spray him in celebration. And Ray Nitschke comes out of the crowd and tackles him. You got to see this if you can. The video, the form tackle by the Canadian security guy against Adam Hadwin is spectacular. Almost as good as Nick Taylor's putt to beat Tommy Fleetwood. Ashley Buhai, by the way, shot a final round 65 to win the ShopRite Classic by 1. A 17-year-old finished T12. I'm telling you, that tour is in phenomenal shape. College baseball. Gators are through to the World Series. They swept South Carolina. Joining them, number 1 Wake Forest, number 5 LSU, number 7 Virginia, Oral Roberts, TCU. 2 spots left to be decided. Southern Miss and Tennessee play a winner-take-all tonight, as do Texas and Stanford. Stanford stayed alive because Quinn Matthews threw a 156-pitch complete game in the Game 2 win. By the way, over the weekend, Mark, Florida won the men's track and field national championship. They went back-to-back, and Texas women won the track and field title, with the Florida women finishing second. NASCAR, Martin Truex Jr. wins at Sonoma. Kyle Busch second. Ross Chastain 10th. He's now tied for third in the points. NASCAR with a week off this week, then they'll race 10 consecutive weeks until the playoffs. Mark, the 24 hours of Le Mans. Ferrari hadn't raced in this thing in 50 years, but it was the 100th edition of the 24-hour Le Mans. So they said, okay, for old time's sake, we'll run in the sucker. And they won it, topping Toyota. Apparently, it was a big deal. And how many of you watched the Belmont over the weekend? And if you watched it, how many of you could hear it?
Well, nobody could hear it.
Well, you could hear the horses.
You definitely
Man, are
could
they
hear the
loud.
Nat sound. They did a great job with the Nat sound, with no other sound.
Arcangelo won it. The significance, his trainer is Jenna Antonucci. first woman to train a Triple Crown winner. She's based out of Ocala. And at 8 minutes before the hour, gentlemen, that was
the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So I watched the Belmont with my mom and my wife. My mom was over for dinner, and the daughter. So my mom's into horse racing. I'm into horse racing. We're watching the race and we're talking. Where's this one come from? And we're not listening to the sound. And all of a sudden I get a text, and then 2, and then 3. So I had to rewind the race and then tell everybody to shut up so we could hear it or not hear it. Welcome to the Triple Crown, Fox. Way to go.
Oops.
You're off to a great start.
Oops. Al, don't worry. They only have 7 more years left on the contract.
Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening. Back on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Paul, I think the chat room's going to be quieter for the next 10 weeks. Certainly 7 or 8. Yeah, RCB. I mean, it's just a matter of how many Rays can you put on the team.
I know, but when you're playing 700 baseball, I don't think they're going to be represented as well as they should be.
I agree with you.
Because they literally won't have one of the 8 starters.
Although I do think, unless it's his turn in the rotation gets in the way, I do think McClanahan will start the game.
I'm with you, but I'm just...
Yes. Who's got the game this year? Like, where is it?
No idea.
Is it in Philly?
Seattle.
Huh. No. Fox the only network that basically, I mean.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark, I want to take something that happened yesterday by an individual and broaden it to a much bigger topic. Can you play along at home?
Ooh, wish we had music.
Well, I have to admit, I'm always scared because you think, I mean, our theme music alone is, sometimes it sounds like, we're in a nightclub. Sometimes it sounds like a 70s detective show. I mean, I'm always afraid to go music on this show.
Well, again, I understand why, and I get the reasons behind it. But anytime you say game show to me, that just, play along at home,
Right.
I get this feeling there should be something peppy, something snappy happening.
So do your little 15, 20 seconds in your head
Right.
while I make my case.
Okay.
So Djokovic wins his 23rd major yesterday. And he and others, can make the claim he's the greatest tennis player of all time. And listen, let's face it, it's a sport that's not incredibly popular in this country anymore. I don't know how riveting the discussion would be. But, if you follow tennis, you know who you think is the greatest of all time. Is it Nadal? Is it Federer? If by chance you still hold on to Sampras or somebody else, what have you. And you could have the same argument on the women's side. Is it Serena? Is it Steffi? Whatever. But Mark, many people think now it is either Joker or Nadal. They're both still active. How many people are still active in their sports that you can make the case are the greatest in their sports history? Who is active today that you say, listen, there are, not the majority, but there are some that believe LeBron is the greatest of all time.
That was the first spot I was going to go. I don't believe that, but there are plenty of people out there that think LeBron's the greatest basketball player to have ever played.
How many people thought 5 months ago that the greatest football player of all time was active? by the way, who was sitting next to Djokovic's wife in Paris. I mean, this just in, he has disposable income. Okay. He can be with his kids at Disney on Monday and Tuesday. Okay. And he can be at the 24 Hours of Le Mans on Saturday and at the French Open on Sunday. I'm just saying, he's that kind of guy. He's Tom Brady.
Yeah, he is living his best post-football life.
Right.
Because it's not to say his best life, because his football life was so damn good. How could you? But in retirement,
right,
he is jet setting like a son of a gun.
You really want him to be the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders? Have you paid attention to what he's done the last 4 or 5 months? Come on now. Have a heart.
Nothing better than McEnroe commenting how everybody's on their cell phones filming Djokovic, and they show Djokovic's box, and there's Brady filming on his cell phone.
So, but how many of you thought Brady is the best? In soccer or football. We've got 2 nominees, Messi or Ronaldo. Are they the greatest of all time? I mean, let's face it, the greatest of all time was Pele. Has Messi overtaken him? Did he need the World Cup win to then be able to say, yeah, he was better? I mean, I thought he was better, but he needed the World Cup. Now that he got the World Cup, there you go. But, think about it. Tiger is still technically active.
Well, that's where I was going to go next. Is Tiger part of this discussion? Because I don't know if he's still active, David. He's not.
He hasn't retired.
Retirement yet.
Right.
But
he hasn't retired. He hasn't retired.
Yet.
Right. He played in the Masters 2 months ago. All right. He's active. Do you consider Tiger to be the greatest of all time? Like, I do not. He was well on his way. His best 12 years, Jack did not compare. Tiger's best, Jack's best, Tiger was better. Jack's career versus Tiger's career, Jack's better. That's my answer. But from 97 through 08, nobody's played the sport the way Tiger did. Nobody. No damn way.
Everybody was playing for second.
Yeah.
In a sport full of ego and arrogance, guys were conceding titles for the most part.
But, I think he won every major 3 times during that stretch. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But, so I'm just curious, like baseball. Is there a baseball? Like, hey, 3 years ago, there were a lot of people saying, who's going to go down as the greatest player of all time? Mike Trout. And I will say, if you take a look at his first 8-9 years in the majors, it's as good as anything anybody else has thrown up there.
Who do you consider to be the best baseball player ever?
Babe Ruth. I really do. And that's not just the old soul in me, but I mean, he obliterated the record book. I mean, what Tiger did at Pebble, winning by 15, winning the Masters by 12. I mean, guys won the home run title with like 13 before Ruth. He had 60 and 59 in 2 seasons, in which literally 5 years earlier, you're winning the home run title with 14 home runs. Oh yeah, and he could pitch. Now they stopped him from pitching after about 5 years, but check him out. He's really good. Better than Ohtani as a pitcher. He just didn't pitch it that long.
Which we may have that in baseball right now with you. You said Trout, but his teammate might be the guy.
Maybe he's the guy. Football. Did you think Brady was the best of all time or just the guy with the best resume?
The guy with the best resume. It's hard in a sport where there's so many different positions to sit there and say the quarterback is the best football player to have ever played the game. Winningest quarterback. most successful quarterback. I don't know. I have a lot of trouble in football for a guy who couldn't make a tackle if his life depended on it to say he's the best football player to have ever played. That's all.
Are you willing to put a few shekels now on 15 years from now, Connor McDavid being considered the greatest player of all time? Or, to be honest with you, are you willing to say Sidney Crosby is right now? No, I wouldn't. I mean, I think he's only the second best Pittsburgh Penguin of all time, but he's pretty damn good.
He is.
Might
You're
be
right on
top
both
10.
accounts. You're right on both accounts. He is a great player. One of the best in the game. Second best Penguin of all time. He's
Right.
not as good as Lemieux. He's just not.
No, I don't think so either. And he's damn ridiculous. But so is
Connor
Lemieux.
McDavid, to me, is closing in on the Mount Rushmore already.
By the way, another guy in baseball who, as of a year ago, was active is one of the greatest hitters of all time in Albert Pujols.
Well, and listen, when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, by the way, that 10, 11-year run, that Albert Pujols was being talked about as he could go down as the greatest player of all time. I mean, those numbers were crazy.
They didn't call it the machine for nothing.
Right. I mean, how many of you considered Bonds the best? But I'm just curious, he's active, Mark. I mean, we saw him play yesterday, although how many people actually watched the French Open final? But I mean, we saw him play yesterday. What was being celebrated over the weekend in Belmont? The 50th anniversary of what? Secretariat. Still considered to this day the greatest horse of all time. But you asked the question on Friday. You threw out the time that Secretariat had to win the Belmont 50 years ago. Arcangelo and his winning time. Do you know how many lengths he would have finished behind Secretariat 50 years ago?
20?
26.
Uh-huh.
So 50 years later, bigger, stronger, faster, the Secretariat would have won by 26.
26 lengths.
26 lengths. Right. To just put it in perspective, if you weren't old enough, you didn't see it, but you did watch the Belmont Saturday night. So just imagine the horse that won finished second by 26. That was Secretariat.
That is remarkable.
To
me, it still plays when they can show that and show the difference.
No. So I'm just curious. I mean, we have somebody, he just turned 36. Don't know how much longer he's going to stay at, and he's now, for what it's worth, back to being number one in the world. He never should have not been number one in the world. But, I mean, think about it. Djokovic wore down the 20-year-old who was number one in the world until he played Djokovic on Friday.
And he cramped up. Not the old man.
No, the 20-year-old fell apart like a tin watch with the 36-year-old going, "You okay?" By the way, I could do this all day.
And the first set in the French was amazing. That kid Rudd played his tail off.
Yep.
Was up 4-2. I happened to turn it on a little late. He was up a break. Gave the break back and systematically got destroyed. It goes to a tiebreaker, and he gets beat 7-1.
Right.
And he was crushed. Physically and mentally from that point on.
By the way, listen, we can make the case for whoever you want to make the case for. Djokovic played 55 points in a tiebreaker in the French Open. Do you know how many unforced errors he had on those 55 points? None.
21,000 is the text line. If there's a greatest out there in the sport, who is it? Text us, 21,000. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambient, no guests today. Struck out. Couldn't even get the head coach of the Blades. He's out fishing.
By the way, returning a serve from Novak Djokovic has to be one of the hardest things in sports. He just makes it hell.
Well, and he's arguably the greatest returner. I mean, first it was Connors, then it was Agassi, and now it's probably Djokovic, greatest of all time.
How about Serbia, though?
Well, yeah, because they got
Jokic.
Yep.
Best tennis player, best basketball player on earth. How about that?
What do you mean? Ambient, that sucks. What? We're not bad.
Right, and those horses are going 40 miles an hour in the Belmont, too. How was the walleye fishing, KW?
Or as Christine Haberly once said, the Wally Eye.
Looking pretty good, Michael.
Feeling good, Lewis. So I'm driving around a little bit yesterday, and I'm listening to NBA radio, and Amin Al Hassan says, this is the worst atmosphere for an NBA Finals in any city that's about to win it that I've ever been in. He goes, outside of the people that will be inside the arena and maybe 10,000 more, they are much more concerned about how Russell Wilson looks like at OTAs. He goes, they don't give a damn.
Really?
Yeah, he went on and on about how, man, he said, if you flew into town today, you'd have no idea the Nuggets were a win away from an NBA title. He goes, now, the atmosphere around the arena tomorrow will be great. Inside the arena, it's been amazing.
Now,
But
do you, and we have 10 seconds. Do you think it goes Broncos, Avs, Rockies, then Nuggets?
No. Broncos, then Nuggets.
Oh.
Really?
Over the Rockies?
Over the Rockies?
No, I was thinking the Avs.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. No guests today, just us. Just us. That's okay. David Sampson to begin the party around this time tomorrow. We'll see who's on the show then. We'll see if we still have an NBA season then. Game 5 tonight. Nuggets a 9-point favorite to wrap things up against the Heat. It'd be their first ever title.
How many game 6s do we get? 0, 1, 2.
0. Kachuk being hurt, I don't think Florida. I know they were down 3-1 to Boston and the whole that. Nobody was hurt. Not only that, Bob hadn't started playing out of his mind yet. He had only started game 4 against Boston. Remember, we even discussed, should Maurice go back to,
Lion,
or stick with Bob? I said I was going back to Lion. You said, no, I'm sticking with Bob. He's the better goalie. Another time Mark was right and Moulton was wrong. But we just did kind of a list. We're not big list guys. Okay, but we threw it out there. Djokovic, the 23rd major. And are we watching someone currently who's the greatest in their sports history? Which just got us discussing how many current athletes are the greatest that their sport has ever seen. Tiger's still active. LeBron is still active. He's only threatening to retire. Now many don't consider LeBron the greatest, but some do.
Joey Chestnut is still active, correct?
Joey's still active.
He's still going. There you go, Joey Chestnut.
Did I use the word athlete? I thought I did. But then again, you know what? Some debate whether or not golfers are athletes, or is it a skill? And if you consider it a skill, then eating a hot dog is also a skill.
You brought up a whole nother can of worms, David, on the text line. 21,000, by the way. If you've never texted the show before, FSN radio is the keyword, and then you're in. But I just simply asked you, who's the greatest baseball player of all time? You said Babe Ruth. You gave your reasons behind it. And that's just brought a few people with the Ted Williams crowds come in. The Ty Cobb crowd has come in. It just brought its own little sidebar for you.
And I've made the case before that Teddy Ballgame's number 2. Okay, now I do think It's hard when you get Aaron, Mays, Williams. It's really hard. We're splitting hairs there. I do think, though, that Ruth is actually just a full level ahead of everybody else. The way most people consider Jordan to be a level ahead of everyone else that's ever played basketball, that's how I look at Babe Ruth. Obviously, it's my opinion. Could be dead wrong. There is no wrong answer, actually. It's your opinion.
Someone nominating a lacrosse player. I'm glad they did that.
You mean Jim Brown? Ha! Ha!
That's funny.
Digress. But it also, and by the way, 21,000, or if you're taking us in on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, chime in the Twitch chat room and let us know, who you think who is playing their sport today that you genuinely consider to be, or you are willing to bet us that if Miller and Moulton are still doing this in 10, 12, 15 years, okay, that you would text or comment in our chat room and go, told you Connor McDavid is going to be the greatest of all time, ... Okay. All right.
Told you Ohtani would be.
There you go.
Greatest.
There you go. I'm just going to throw this out there. I know we got to get to the Clutch Vodka play of the day. So, like I said, I was listening to a little NBA radio yesterday, driving around.
Is there a problem?
No.
Is everything okay?
Everything's fine.
Hey, honey, I got to go drive around. I got to catch up on my NBA radio.
How much quality time have you spent with my wife and my mother-in-law? You drive around and listen to NBA radio too, okay? I'm just saying. So back to I was listening to some NBA radio.
It's a dadgum good point.
And they made 2 points that I'd like to just throw out there. One, Amin Al-Hassan said that Denver is the worst atmosphere for an NBA Finals of any major city he's ever been in. That there they were the day before, and their team's going to win their first ever championship. He goes, and nobody here gives a damn. But boy, do they care about Russell Wilson and how he looks at OTAs. Okay, fair enough. So it's kind of like the running joke that they've had in New York City. How many people care about the New York Rangers? The 18,100 who show up, and that's about it. But they were discussing, Mark, where does Jokic rank among centers? And they, I guess internally at NBA radio, have kind of had this discussion now for a few days. And if he puts the bow on this sucker, tonight, in this 3-year run here, 2 MVPs, and then capping it off with an NBA title where he'll be the finals MVP. They rank him as the 6th greatest center of all time. That amongst NBA radio, the guys kind of talking amongst themselves and what have you and comparing lists, and they rank him 6th. And they didn't say in specific order. They just said, these are the 5 that we have ahead of them. They've got Wilt, Kareem, Russell, Shaq, and Olajuwon. And they said, and then after that, he doesn't take a back seat to anybody. And you can bring them all up. Ewing and anybody else you want to bring up. They go, no, he's better. I thought that was interesting. A lot of debate about this fella. How good is he? Where does he rank? Blah, blah, blah.
He's certainly a unicorn. Because he doesn't differently. The 5 that you mentioned, he's a completely different player than all 5 of them.
So Kareem, Wilt, Shaq, Russell, Olajuwon. Those were the 5 that they felt comfortable saying he's not as good as.
What do you think? 21,000 is the text line 21000 if you want to chime in on that or anything else we've been discussing this morning. Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with the K. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
It had been 58 years since a Canadian won the Canadian Open, and with a chance to win from 72 yards, Feet. I said yards. 72 feet. Nick Taylor delivers Sirius XM PGA with an amazing call.
Swing of the putter. Comes up with some speed. Now up the rise. For the eagle. For the win. To the cup. To the cup. Yes! 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 The drought is over. The drought is over. Nick Taylor with the eagle. The 2023 RBC Canadian Open champion. History. History. 2-year exemption. He's an icon now in this country.
2-year exemption.
Threw the 2-year exemption in there.
Wow. 2-year exemption. Got the sponsor name mentioned.
That is as minor league as calls get. That's a golf call? That sounded like a minor league hockey call right there. That was fantastic.
I've never heard anything like it from a golf call. Nance had a great call too, but I couldn't.
He did.
I couldn't miss out on that one.
He did. I'll give him credit.
I thought CBS had a great overtime golf coverage. I thought yesterday's coverage was terrific. I thought they all had a good day. They all were on top of saying poignant things and trying to actually be critical of a player or two. I thought they did a really good job.
Who was that with the call? Because his voice cracked early and often.
We don't have it.
Okay.
It's Sirius XM.
PGA Tour Radio. There you go. By the way, Mark, it's only 6 down from NBA radio. Just saying. 92 for golf, 86 for hoops.
Miller and Moulton, making sure you keep track of your station, and hopefully it's ours. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Zacchino. That's who it was.
That's who was on the mic?
Mark Zacchino. Yes.
It was awful.
I love when Nancy goes, "Are you kidding me?"
Wow, Why don't you read? You saving that? Okay. So, Maddie, who's your favorite baseball team? Who's your favorite hockey team? You can answer. Oh, it's not the Penguins? Okay. What about football? You don't care, do you? Why don't you like football? Is it boring, or is it just that I watch it too much? In basketball, you've never really seen a game because they don't start until before you go to bed. So Avs are more popular than the Nuggets, huh, Ambien?
It's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, it's hockey.
Right, the Nuggets have only been out there for 30 more years than the Avs.
At least 20.
I mean, hockey. I guess I thought the Rockies were bigger. I don't know. I mean, they're not that great historically, but Coors Field is nice. $30 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. No guests today. Just kicking it around on a Monday. NBA season could end tonight. Nuggets a 9-point favorite to wrap things up against the Heat. Heat have lost 6 of their last 8. Only scored over 95 points once in a game in this series. Doesn't look good is what we're saying. Stanley Cup Finals could end tomorrow night. Panthers down 3-1 and their best players hurt. Besides that, they're in good shape. But
I had to laugh. I was listening to an interview with Spoelstra. I think it was yesterday. And he kind of jumped that reporter. And so that the way it looks to the untrained eye.
right, Ramona Shelburne. Right.
So the person asking the question says, to your trained eye, what is it about the Nuggets defense that they do well? I thought that was such a shot. Because there's nothing Spoelstra can really do there. You're the trained eye.
You could laugh. You could laugh.
He didn't.
Good one. Good
He
one.
didn't.
No.
But I thought that was pretty funny. When asking about their defense, he gave a good answer, and he, talked about their systems and how they run them. But I just thought it was, to your trained eye, was it they're doing defensively?
So we've kicked a couple things around today. One of them is with Djokovic winning his 23rd Grand Slam, he now has won the most all-time on the men's side. That's usually how we determine who is the greatest in golf and tennis. It's by who has more majors. And it just got us to asking, who do you think is active today that is the greatest of all time in their sport? And while most people don't think, LeBron is the greatest of all time, there's, would you say, Mark, is 20% too high as to the people out there that think LeBron's the greatest player of all time?
In my circle, but Felipe, I would ask you that. Do 1 in 5 think the 1 in 5 of your friends think LeBron's better than Jordan?
Yeah, and that number is only going to increase over time.
Interesting. So we've been asking, who is active in their sport today? Tiger is technically active. Did you think Brady was? And now that he's retired, there's no one active playing football. Are you willing, however, to say, hey, I'll call back in 2035 and I'll nominate Patrick Mahomes? Just like the hockey fan, Mark, that we wonder will call back in 2040 and go, so how'd that Connor McDavid pick look?
We have 2 other picks from some different sports. NASCAR guy has voted for Kyle Busch.
Wow.
And UFC guy has voted for John Jones. Okay.
And goodness knows we don't talk that. It's not our thing. But I guess Nunez dominated and retired. She's a fairly big draw. Seems to me like that would hurt. I mean, is there another woman that anybody actually pays to see fight? Just throwing that out there. For those of you that are into that sort of thing, I mean, I don't know. She seems to be a pretty big draw. And she announced her retirement after winning over the weekend. Whatever. They're coming up on UFC 300, by the way. Think about that. How long they've been doing this.
You think they
now.
look back on that and go, we should have come up with better names?
I don't know.
I mean, now that they're basically every weekend.
I kind of like it, though. It's like a timestamp.
Are they every weekend or are they supposed to be monthly? I thought they're supposed to be monthly. Does seem
It
to be
just
more than
seems
that,
that
though.
there are more pay-per-view events than ever before.
So the other thing that I just want to throw out there, 21,000 text line, Twitch chat room, take in the show, the Miller and Moulton channel. We appreciate it. And then comment along the way. So now that the Saudis have bought golf, I mean, is there really any other way to put it? I mean, they have, right?
No, there is no other way to put it.
Okay. So now that they've bought golf, well, they've bought their way into Formula One and they've brought their way into soccer.
Right.
Okay.
In a big way.
So,
the Saudis own Man City. Man City just won the Champions League over the weekend. So, yes.
So there's 2 things that are out there, I guess. One, for those of you that get bent out of shape, that the World Cup was in Qatar. How you going to feel in 2030 or 2034 when it's in Saudi Arabia? Don't laugh. It's not like they're going to get outbid. And remember, who's making the decision? Is there a more corrupt organization in the world than FIFA? In the world. I'm talking crime families. I'm talking Putin. All right, honestly, is there a more corrupt thing going on in the world right now than FIFA?
And by the way, I got my Middle Eastern regimes and soccer teams mixed up. The UAE owns Man City. The Saudis own Newcastle. So
Gotcha.
My mistake.
So that's number one. How's everybody going to feel when Saudi Arabia is hosting the World Cup? Because it's their goal to have it. And it's not like they don't have the money to make it so. Do you think, by the way, when they're at the auction, do they start bidding early or do they just sit back and wait?
Sit back and wait.
Until the auctioneer for the first time goes going once?
Maybe even a little earlier than that, but you know what I mean. Let this thing, let's get the non-players out, if you know what I mean.
Okay, the final bid is $2 billion. I hit $2 billion going once. And then all of a sudden, in the back of the room, they don't even stand up. This placard goes up. $5 billion. But then also now the question, because I do sense a backlash, Mark, from golf fans towards the news last week. Now it's going to go away for a week because we're going to have the U.S. Open. And it's just going to all be about golf and nothing having to do with the PGA Tour because it's all USGA. But I do sense that golf fans not very happy with this. They're not comfortable with it.
I think that's a better way of putting it. They're not comfortable with it.
And obviously the devil's in the details, and maybe this will work out fine. But right now they're uncomfortable with it. So how are you going to feel when they buy an NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, and yes, you know where I'm going, NFL team? The NBA, by the way, in the last year has gone out of their way to change their bylaws to make it so that they can have the Saudis buy a team. They've made it easier for foreign investment to buy a franchise or possibly an expansion franchise.
David, there are just so many billionaires out there, and they all don't want to own sports teams at the end of the day.
I mean, I don't think they have any interest, but apparently the NHL is having a hell of a time getting $1 billion for the Ottawa Senators.
Snoop doesn't have the cash?
Well, Mark, apparently Snoop and his guy apparently are the last ones left. The others have all said, nah, this is ridiculous. We're out.
$1 billion for the Ottawa Senators.
I know, serious? It's a joke. It's preposterous. Okay, I don't know if Ottawa should cost $1 billion. Never mind the hockey team, but I digress. So I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, like here, I'll be very serious. Let's put ourselves, I don't know, we're a Rays fan. And, well, they need a stadium. And it's not working out. And they're not getting any money from Tallahassee. And what if all of a sudden the Saudis call up Sternberg and say, I'll give you $3 billion. Just give me the franchise. I'll build the stadium. We'll be fine. Yeah, $3 billion. Remember, the Mets went for like 2.3. It'd be the most money ever spent on a franchise. If Sternberg put the franchise up for sale, he'd get half that. Maybe.
And what have we seen? Other owners love when someone overpays for a franchise. It increases the value of all of their franchises. So, in theory, the other owners wouldn't stand in the way, if you know what I'm saying, David.
In theory, it'd either be a hard no or it'd be a come on down. You're the next contestant on raising the value of franchises. But I'm just curious, Rays fan. I don't know how you feel about Stu Sternberg. But what if the Saudis came in, bought your team, and built you the gorgeous stadium in the place where you wanted it? No taxpayer money, by the way. We got this. We're good.
It is the fascinating franchise to pick, too. And not just because we're in Florida. They're a team that desperately needs a new ballpark. And this would get it done. Because Sternberg's already, he's never, ever talked about putting up his own money for a stadium. The only money he was putting up was money he was getting for the naming rights for the stadium that he was transitioning into paying for the stadium.
Right. He was going to use a sponsor's money to make his payments for him. When are you going to make your payment? Well, I get paid from the sponsor on the 10th, so I'll give you the money on the 15th. Right. But I'm just curious. Are you okay with that? If you're Rob Manfred, are you okay with this? To me, it's either yes or no. And if it's yes, well, then it's going to happen. Nobody can outbid them. And if you're Major League Baseball or the NFL or the NBA or the NHL, what do? You put these franchises up to the highest bidder. That's how you operate. So if you're going to let someone into the bidding that you know is the highest bidder, then as you're making the decision to let them into the bidding, you're basically awarding them the franchise. Mark, do you think the fan cares? The golf fan has been bent out of shape. Obviously, they had the Civil War, PGA Tour, LIV. They got all worked up. But we don't have any of that in our other sports.
The most important thing for most fans is what, David? That their team wins.
Right.
And having rich owners would give you the best chance to do what? You would think win. Now, not working all that well for the Mets right now, but I think it will eventually.
What if the Saudis are the answer to keeping baseball in Oakland? What if this fails in Vegas and this owner's in no man's land and the Saudis come in and say, we'll take the team off your hands. Okay, franchise is worth $1 billion or so. We'll give you $2.5 billion, which is the most, once again, the most that any baseball franchise has ever been sold for. The Oakland A's, the Saudis like, yeah, sure, $2.5 billion, that's fine. By the way, we'll spend the $2.5 billion. We'll buy the stadium to the city and state. Where do you want it? And yeah, let us know the environmental stuff. Yeah, sure, we'll play by the rules. We don't care. Yeah, we'll build you the stadium. Yeah, here's the team. We'll save it.
Now that's twofold. You give them an opportunity to win, and you save the team in a town that was going to lose their last major league franchise.
Right. But it's Saudi Arabia. Does it matter?
I don't think it does in the market. It may in the sport. It may honk people off around the sport. But if the team wins, that's all they care about.
So I just wanted to throw that out there because if they're in Formula One and they're in worldwide soccer and now they just bought golf, if they're buying worldwide sports here, like you don't think they're going to buy specifically into America's sports franchises?
I would think that's where they'd want to be more than anywhere else. If you're trying the sport washing, where do you want to do it in? The United States. Miller and Moulton. 21,000 is the text line. Love to hear your thoughts. More in a moment right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Which of the topics that we brought up should we continue?
I love the Saudi one. I just don't think I think we can get another segment out of it.
Oh, I do too. I got the money in front of me that they've thrown around into a bunch of companies.
I just don't know. Like this person says, look, I can they buy into those leagues?
It's all up to the league. NBA's fine with it. The NBA is fine with it. Adam Silver said so.
David, did you know that? Did that director work any of the games that you did?
He wasn't the main director, but he was a part of the crew.
No, Hops, I think that's a great point, actually.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the final hour of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Game 5, NBA Finals tonight. Denver can win their first ever championship. 9-point favorites at home against the Heat. Last time they played in Denver, Heat won. Can the Heat stay alive? They have to score to do so, and they've only scored more than 95 points in one of the 4 games in this series. That was their lone win. Stanley Cup Finals resume tomorrow night. In Vegas, Golden Knights looking for their first ever title, and they're up 3-1 on the Panthers. But a couple of things that we're kicking around today, and we talked about, the exciting Canadian Open and the Rays, who just finished the 39-game stretch, 25-14, and their lead's now 5.5 in the East, and best record in baseball. I mean, playing over 700 ball. They're remarkable. But we also brought the Rays into a hypothetical discussion, which is not going to be hypothetical. It may be when it concerns the Rays, but it's not going to be hypothetical in the next, 2 to 3 years. So how are you all going to feel when the Saudis, who just bought golf and have bought their way into F1 and into big-time soccer, they want a World Cup, and it's not like anybody's going to be able to outbid them. And if you just had it in Qatar, are you really going to say no to the Saudis? And B, you okay when they buy an MLB, NFL, NBA, or NHL team? Because it's happening. I mean, don't think it's not.
Right away got this text, Dave. It didn't take seconds for someone to text who's never texted the show before. Personally, I would boycott any team owned by the Saudis, and I don't think I'd be alone. I don't think you'd be alone either.
No, don't think you would.
But for how long is the better question?
We had a joke, Miller, Moulton, and a mutual friend. Okay. He works in the building that Mark is broadcasting from in Fort Myers. He's a Yankee fan. We were talking about the Yankees one day. And I think there was a player that they could go out and get, but he had some off the field baggage. And our mutual friend looked at the both of us and said, listen, if Saddam Hussein could hit 30 homers and drive in 100 RBIs, I'd want him playing left field. I don't care. And so, we're talking to sports fans here. We're not the most rational people. We're not the most moralistic of people. Come on now. We give standing ovations to people who beat their wives and mistreat people. And come on, you've all done it. Hey, a lot of you are fans of Tiger. You really think Tiger's a good person? I mean, do we really want to have that conversation?
So 21,000 is the text line. You can always join us in the Twitch chat room, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. And David's right. At some level, it's coming. Now, I don't know if they come after a team before they come after more leagues. Because I think after buying golf, I think tennis could be vulnerable.
Absolutely. Boy, is it ripe. I mean, think about it. On the women's side, you've got, the Williams sisters are all but done. You've got nobody carrying the sport on that side. And Federer's retired. Nadal might only play a handful of tournaments the rest of his career. Djokovic just turned 36. You got to figure by 2025, Djokovic's on the downside, if not going, you know what? I got my 26, 27 majors. I'm good.
But if they were to buy a team, I think we talked about it during the break. The most likely right now is an NBA franchise.
Yes. Adam Silver has not only said he wouldn't stop it, he's changed the bylaws to make it happen.
So pick your NBA team that's bad.
Or that's just struggling financially. Listen, Jordan's selling the Bobcats there, or Hornets, or whatever the hell they are. I mean, he probably, could get $1 billion, a little over $1 billion for him. What if the Saudis called him up and offered him $3 billion? Do you think he'd say no?
And do you think it's possible they'd be a worse owner than Michael Jordan was in Charlotte?
Ha ha ha!
Well, no, I mean, because that's at the end of the day what this boils down to, David, is your team, I don't care who buys the team. Are they going to win?
So, Mark, 10 months ago, PIF, the Public Investment Fund. Remember, Rory McIlroy went out of his way to say PIF is not LIV.
Right.
Which is funny because I thought PIF created LIV. Whole other point. But Mark, in August of last year, they invested $8 billion in 17 companies. You may have heard of a few of these. Alphabet, the parent company of Google, about $500 million. Microsoft, Zoom, JP Morgan Chase, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, Starbucks. All of these companies I've mentioned, they've invested between 460 and 500 million in 10 months ago. Costco, Amazon, Home Depot. The list goes on and on. They threw a bunch of money into Disney. You really don't think they're going to buy an NBA team? Seriously? I mean, most of you didn't know they threw all this money into these companies. Okay. Now, they may be making a lot of money off of this, but they want, some PR. That's the point of throwing this money around. Sometimes you throw money around to make money. Sometimes you throw money around to get PR. You want PR, good, bad, and different, buy a major U.S. pro sports team. That'll get you PR. You can invest $7 billion in 17 companies. Nobody knows a damn thing. You buy the Tampa Bay Rays and build them a new stadium. That'll be $5 billion well spent from a PR standpoint.
How would you react And really think about it. Because it's really easy to say I'd boycott it. I'd boycott my team. You know, we bring up the Rays and the Charlotte Hornets and the Oakland A's. It doesn't mean that much to too many people because those are three franchises that don't have a lot of gravitas in the sports world. But the way to get good is to have owners with money. At least it helps.
Jerry Jones is not a young man. Jerry Jones, I believe, is in his early 80s. The Cowboys are estimated at worth 10, 11 billion. He's 80, by the way. What if when the time comes and Jera passes, the Jones siblings decide we're going to cash in on this? This is the American pro sports franchise that is worth the most amount of money. And my guess is you'll get people that'll, whatever Forbes says they're worth, you'll get people that'll come up with 2, 3, 5 billion more. Like, Mark, whenever the time comes and Forbes says that franchise is worth 12, I'll bet you they get somebody to bid 15. What happens when the Saudis bid 25? What, you think they have a problem with oil in Dallas? No. I mean, look at what the NFL has done for money to all of us as fans in the last couple of years. I mean, if it's on a night of the week, they're flexing the damn schedule. They just sold off one playoff game for streaming for $110 million. You don't think they'd sell the Cowboys to the Saudis for $10 billion more than anybody else could pay?
Cowboy fan just texted me and said the thought of Jerry no longer holding that team back just made me giddy.
So, just throwing it out there because you might as well have your own little moral discussion with yourself or your friends. Because it's going to happen. I mean, this is golf. This is
that's what I'm going to. Yesterday, just with the Canadian Open, because the golf fan watches golf. Doesn't matter what the tournament is.
Yep.
And their limited boycott that they may have had would have occurred this week. Well, what happened? All of a sudden, you get a overtime golf. There's nothing else on. There was nothing on Sunday, David. You had baseball or you had golf. Those were your choices. Tennis was over by noon.
I mean, we brought up the Rays. Obviously, we're trying to hit you a little bit of where you live. Okay? Because, you know, we think their fan base is growing by the day. But think about it. What if? And nobody right now thinks they're leaving. They think somehow, some way, Sternberg's going to keep the team. But it's not like Major League Baseball would stand in his way if he wanted to move. They're not standing in the A's way. They just want the damn thing settled. Soon as it's settled, they can get 2 expansion fees. By the way, can anybody pay more for an expansion franchise than the Saudis? And yes, if a league sells one to PIF, could they sell one then to China? Yeah, I mean, in theory, you say yes to one, you got to say yes to the other. This goes back to the whole SEC, bringing in certain teams. A&M turned to Florida, Georgia, and, South Carolina and said, you going to block Texas? And they went, no. And they said, okay, just to let you know, Florida State, Clemson, okay,
Georgia Tech, you're all.
And
if
you're
we want them,
screwed.
we can take them now.
Right, you're screwed, just so you know. You let this guy in, you're screwed. So that's all. Just wanted to bring it up.
But when it goes to the highest bidder, do you really think there's people that can be outbid by the Saudis?
I think they're in a suit, their legs crossed, they're sitting in the back. I think it's a short guy too, so he can't be seen. And all of a sudden the voice says, 5 billion.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I was thinking, David, we could have a segment called Somewhat Successful during football season of who's the most overrated team out there. Like, I would argue right now, Rory's somewhat successful. He was leading going into Sunday. Still managed, top 15 it. He had a somewhat successful weekend.
But he didn't have a successful Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, Rory managed to squeeze a T9 in there.
You going to start reading?
a unique talent, and he's really hit his stride the past couple of years with success.
Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We've just talked about the possibility of Saudi Arabia's PIF, who just, bought professional golf worldwide. Details to be worked out later. And how are you with the thought that in the next few years they could buy into one of the big American pro sports leagues? They can't right now, except the NBA. They can buy up to a 20% stake in an NBA franchise right now. And Mark, for the record, Dan Patrick asked Adam Silver specifically about this last week. And Adam Silver, if you read between the lines, and you don't have to look that hard either, basically said, yeah, we're open to the idea of making it more. And that we're a worldwide sport, and people around the world have different opinions than people in America. And that, the whole sports washing and everything that gets talked about here doesn't necessarily get talked about worldwide. And he mentioned that, how beneficial it was to Qatar about the World Cup and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, Adam Silver was making the case, really, for PIF buying into an NBA franchise. Right now, they can only buy 20% of one. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated last week said he picked up the phone, called about a third of the league's team presidents, and said, how long do you think it'll take until this happens in the NFL? And the consensus that he got was within the next 5 years. Right now, it's not possible. Right now. Commanders just went for $6 billion. The Commanders.
And the Ottawa Senators are going to go for $1 billion. That's a team in the National Hockey League, for those of you that were wondering.
Right.
Speaking of the NHL, I don't know if you caught this, but did you catch the interview? It was not on American television. I saw it through a website. But Charles Barkley was getting interviewed on Sports Night, during the Stanley Cup Finals. He was at the game in Florida. And they're going to ask the last question, and Barkley just says, no, I got a story to tell first. That he's staying at the same hotel that Vegas was staying at. And he saw Jack Eichel. So he went over to Eichel and said, hey, Mr. Eichel, it's an honor. You're a great player. Shook his hand. And Barkley's convinced that Eichel had no clue who he was. Barkley said he looked at me like, who the hell are you? I mean, does Eichel not watch television at all?
I don't know.
What, he's back from the Subway commercial at least?
Obviously not a fan of the NBA.
Right.
Or college basketball.
But I thought that was great.
Yeah, that's good. Chuck handled it well.
Yeah, Chuck thought it was hysterical.
When was the final in Nashville? Wasn't that Penguins, Predators? Wasn't that like 2016, 2017, something like that? Was it more recent than that? Anyway,
I thought it was, yeah, that sounds about right.
but that was the year that Barkley fell in love with hockey. That was when, and I don't know if it's because he was working out of Atlanta a lot and Nashville was close. I don't know what the reason was, but he got all into the hockey. And what a party it was, and the atmosphere in and around the arena and inside the arenas. And maybe also, Vegas coming into the league the way they did, but he was all in. And he has, for the last 5 years, basically said, even while sitting on the set, doing NBA playoff stuff, going, yeah, I didn't watch the Celtics and the Hawks. I was watching the hockey. And they're like, Chuck, we're televising the Celtics and the Hawks. He goes, yeah, I know. Yeah, whatever. I was watching the hockey. It's better.
But we've got Game 5 in hoop tonight, Game 5 in hockey tomorrow. Can either South Florida team get the series back to South Florida?
You asked the question. If the sports gods would to let us know one of them's going to force a Game 6, which one do you give the better chance to? So you're either betting that the Heat are going to make their threes or Bob is going to steal a game. Which one are you banking on more?
You've got to bet on Bob because so far in the NBA Finals, the Heat's three-point shooting's been awful.
I know that's the smart play, but it's just one night. Tell you what is not a good sign for the Heat tonight. Every time the Nuggets have had a chance to put a series away, they've played a really good game. They were up 3-0 on Minnesota. They did not mail in Game 4. T-Wolves beat them by a bucket late. They were up 3-2 to Phoenix. They went in and destroyed the Suns. Wasn't that the game they were up like 30 at the half?
Mm-hmm.
Heck, got the head coach fired. They're up 3-0 on the Lakers. Not only did they not mail in Game 4, they were down double digits at the half, came back and won that late. For a team that's never won a championship, boy, have they played like champions these last 2 months.
And the Heat have to go back. I mean, the one game that they won, who did they shut down? They didn't shut down Jokic. They shut down Murray. They've got to figure out a way to eliminate Murray tonight and somehow make three-point shots.
I hope the Nuggets can win and that Michael Malone, their head coach, can stop the disrespect card. Because Denver is milking this to the nth, to the point where it's becoming annoying. I mean, they're making it seem as if no one outside of Denver has ever heard of them. Never mind seen them play at any point in time. It's like, hey, take it easy with it. Yes, the league was promoting the Lakers. Right. They're the Lakers. Enough already. That's all. I'm just saying it. I want everybody to have a parade. I want Denver to get their parade. That it'll be great. And then lose the attitude.
Got to find something to rally against.
Enough already. Please. It's honestly, it is now vaulted over the line of obnoxious. I get it. You played the disrespect card getting to the finals. Got it. You're up 3-1 in the finals. Okay. You're playing great. All the questions you and your players are getting is, how does it feel? I mean, the media can't say and write enough good things about you. Who was it the other day that called Jamal Murray the best point guard in the NBA? I mean, think about that. It's showing you disrespect. Okay, really? Saying Jamal Murray's better than Steph Curry? Seriously? We're showing you disrespect. Enough.
Would you like to eliminate that card completely if you could?
You know how much it drives me crazy. Crazy. It's just like fans, okay? I don't like you. Why? Well, because you don't just take the pom-poms out when you talk about my team all the time. You have the audacity when they're 4-13 to say they're not good. You suck.
We're done.
So Moulton's trying to eliminate the disrespect card. I like it. It'll never happen because the players live by it now.
Oh, man. I mean, next thing you know, Nick Saban's going to, since he hasn't won in, 3 years? Nick Saban's going to use it this year. Stab me in the neck, will you? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, David, you know I'm a big fan of that third-year Letterman account.
Right.
He wrote a book, released it on Twitter. The introduction of the book goes through all of the characters that are in the book. My favorite was his sister, Julie whatever. She hates me. I hate her. I call her Judy just to piss her off. We can't play. All the music we play is non-commercial music for a reason, because we can't play it on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook without getting taken off the air. So that's why you never hear actual songs. They've added 9 million songs to that library, which we got to try to reformat this show for the fall. I'd like to retool it so we've got all new music. But he was working on a march that was pretty cool that I think would be great for like a pick segment.
Okay.
We have not, Hops. I don't know enough about it to really get into it. I saw it and I didn't read through it yesterday.
No, but Hops, we can bring that up now. Well, Hops, they didn't say they are going to be taxed. They said they could be taxed.
But it hasn't been a tax write-up for them to give to their universities. That's something Trump changed anyhow. We've talked about that.
Right. It was a tax write-off. He took it away.
Seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Kicking it around after an eventful weekend in sports. Game 5 NBA Finals tonight. Nuggets going for their first ever title. Heat 9-point dogs. Does Miami have one more gut check in them? They've lost 6 of 8. They're clearly fading. Looking more and more like the team that struggled during the regular season than the team that got 2.5 rounds into the playoffs and looked dynamic. So something happened Friday which didn't get a lot of airplay, which could arguably, Mark, be the biggest story of the last 72 hours, and it ain't close. I mean, the biggest story last week was the whole PIF, golf money, Saudi taking over professional golf worldwide. But Friday, the IRS, they let it be known that, that money that you're given to the NIL of your favorite team, we're going to tax you on that. I know you've been operating like that was tax exempt, but that ain't going to be tax exempt. And, there are folks that think that could change the NIL world a lot.
Because what they've tried to do with a lot of these NILs is set them up as 501c3s and make them charitable causes, if you will. The IRS believes that the NIL collectives provide greater private benefit than public benefit, making them not exempt from taxation. That's the long and short of it.
Now, what's a little confusing, though, is that there are 200 collectives, Mark, amongst the 131 FBS schools playing, big-time football, if you will. Well, they've all gotten IRS approval for these 501c3s. But apparently what the IRS said to all of these collectives as they were giving the approval is, well, we're approving them now, but we're looking into this, and you may not like what we rule 12 to 18 months down the road. And apparently now, well, they're leaning towards, yeah, you guys are going to have to pay taxes on this. What are you, crazy? As somebody was quoted as saying, the IRS, when they granted it, said, we may come back a year later and go, what were we doing? And Friday, it looks like for the first time, the IRS said, man, I don't know what we were thinking. Of course, this doesn't play by the rules. Of course, you got to pay taxes on this stuff. This doesn't fit underneath the tax exempt model. How much do you think that would cost these schools and the money that they're getting from certain people?
Well, I'm confused, David, a little bit. Because didn't the laws change that your donations to a school were once were a tax write-off, and they're not anymore?
Well, I thought Trump changed that during his big tax plan that he pushed through. And the colleges were very upset. We're like, whoa, what do you mean all of a sudden these donations to the engineering department are now taxable? This is going to hurt us. And Trump didn't seem moved by it.
So that's the part I'm trying to figure out where the difference is. So if they thought they could somehow get it into a 501c3 and say that that was a write-off, all of these NIL collectives that have set themselves up as a 501c3 could be in trouble.
Now, what was also going on last week was that certain coaches were lobbying Congress, wanting Congress to get involved and do something about NIL. Basically, they think too much money is going to the athlete, or it's got to be regulated in some way.
Funny, they never worry about having to regulate what coaches make.
I know.
Or assistant coaches, or how many coaches you can have.
Right.
How many staffers you can have.
I'm just going to ask a generic question. If Congress gets involved in NIL, is your gut feeling that they will make it better or worse?
Worse.
I was going to just sit back and listen, but I thought
ask that question about anything in society right now.
Right. So once again, we're going to leave the blank open. Okay. The question is, if Congress is to get involved in fill in the blank, do you think they will make the situation better or worse?
We'll hang up and listen.
So the fill in the right, the fill in the blank this time is NIL. Got to admit, every state's got different laws. If we start making what's tax exempt, what's not, then, are states going to try to override the feds? Mark, I don't know if you're aware, but winning college football games in a few states in this country is a really big deal.
It is. It is. And by the way, we're not just picking on collectives that are 501c3s, because the PGA Tour is a 501c. I guess they're a C6, whatever the hell that is.
Might be why the Department of Justice has been investigating them for the last year, because they're like, what the hell are you talking about? It says it right here. They don't pay taxes. What are you talking about? They don't pay tax. They don't have any money. Okay? It says it right here. What are you talking about? Mickelson said they had $800 million. Well, they did, but they don't anymore. That's why they're getting in bed with the Saudis. Maybe we'll hit them up for the taxes. I don't know what to tell you.
And the 501c3 is something both sides of the aisle aren't going to fight. Because they're all hiding money there.
Got that right.
So it's not going away.
No. Because if we start taking on education, you know what's next? Wait for it. Wait for it. Religion. Hello. And why is that? Well, because in some states, college football is a religion. But anyway. But last week, the full court press was being put on. I mean, Nick Saban went to Washington. A few other coaches went to Washington. You guys got to do something. I thought Nick was smarter than that. I thought Nick would go to Washington and say, listen, whatever you guys are thinking of doing, stay the hell away. We'll work it out. I'll let Jimbo Fisher buy whatever recruiting class he wants. Stay the hell away from my sport, okay?
Besides, it hasn't worked for him anyhow. He can buy whatever he wants. It's only given him 6 W's a year on average.
Right. Blue chip list my blank. So that was one of those stories that happened, on a Friday afternoon, real easy to get lost. Wait a minute. All this NIL money we're going to get taxed on? Well, then people may not give us the money they've been giving us. You think?
I don't know. I think they'll still give it.
I don't know. I'll tell you right now, Mr. Ruiz ain't going to be given what he's been given. Never mind the fact that his company's net value is down about 94%. But although Cristobal's still doing great on the recruiting trail. They just got somebody who chose them over like Alabama the other day. He can get players. We don't know if he can coach them, but he can get them.
And boy, oh boy, you want to know so one thing about Saturdays and Sundays, all weekend long, I'm reading about this player flipped, that player flipped. Dion got 2 big signings. Michigan got a guy that was going to Notre Dame. It doesn't end. Even though the recruiting cycles are supposed to end, it doesn't end, David. And this is a huge month for the 24 class right now.
If you had to bet in our remaining moments, ESPN has released their FPI. That's not a PIF or a live or anything like that. It's basically a performance index. It tells you, like before the game, hey, so-and-so's got an 83% chance of winning. Which team right now has the best chance to win the Super Bowl, according to ESPN's FPI?
The Chiefs.
Second, the Eagles, just under 14%. The Chiefs are just under 13%. Niners, 11%. Bills and Bengals almost identical, 9-point-something%. Here's what surprised me. Tied for 10th are the Dolphins and the Chargers. Nobody's buying the Jags, Mark. The Lions have the 7th best Super Bowl chance, according to ESPN, at 4%. Well, who's a bigger favorite to win their division this year than the Jags?
Nobody.
Maybe
they were 3 or 4 games clear, maybe more of that of the next over-under, David.
I know that. Now, I will say the Chiefs are pretty clear of the Chargers, too, and most people aren't buying Denver or the Raiders until they prove otherwise. And they've won that division, 6, 7 years in a row, something ridiculous. But, the Jags are not in the top 10. Who would you give a better chance of winning the Super Bowl to, the Chargers or the Jags?
The Jags, because they're going to win their division and have a home playoff game.
The Dolphins or the Jags?
Ooh, South Florida. I'll still go Jags.
The Jets or the Jags?
The Jags.
Jets are listed with the 8th best chance to win the Super Bowl. I mention this because a year ago today, do you know what the odds were on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl? The Eagles were coming off a 9-8 season. They made the final playoff spot in the NFC. They got whacked by Brady and the Bucs. Now, yeah, they had a good offseason. They went and got Bradbury a corner. They went and got A.J. Brown. There's no doubt about it. You know, Jalen Hurts, the thought is he'll be better. That was a year ago today. Do you know what, Mark, the Eagles' odds were to win the Super Bowl today in 2022? 30-1.
That's long money right there.
Yeah. Now, 3 weeks into the season, the Eagles were one of the top 3 choices to win the Super Bowl. Got off to the great start, the whole deal. Everybody was like, oh. But today, in 2022, and the Eagles started the offseason 50-1, by the way. And by early June, we're 30-1 because of the draft and free agency and what have you. But if we were to look up the odds right now, the teams that are listed 22, 25, 30-1, and you realize that was the Eagles a year ago. So why couldn't this year's Eagles be the Jags?
The AFC would be the first reason people would tell you.
Fair enough.
It's why the Lions are going to get more play than the Jags because they're in the NFC.
And that's fair. So then pick an NFC team then. Who's this year's Eagles? And then most people would jump on the Lions. Okay. Is it Dallas? Is it, I don't know. Is it Minnesota?
Could it be the Saints?
Could it be Carr and the Saints?
Obviously, it's a division that's ripe for the picking. And I know Bucs fans out there going, hey, we haven't conceded that division yet.
Cowboys, by the way, 6th best chance to win the Super Bowl, according to ESPN, at nearly 7%. But just wanted to, recent numbers. We go full circle. I mean, who the hell was talking up the Eagles to win the Super Bowl? Not be improved. Miller and Moulton both thought they'd win the East, by the way. If for no other reason, then nobody wins that division in back-to-back years. So we knew the Cowboys weren't winning it.
Which will be interesting because the Eagles are going to be the huge favorite to go back-to-back, which hasn't happened in however many years.
Almost
Miller and Moulton, Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte, and Venice. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. The bonus hour in the 239. That's next.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just worked with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, check your camera.
Whoa. That was weird. What the hell?
Mark Miller going incognito for the bonus hour today. Hops, I'm with you, by the way. I would do away with most tax exemptions.
It'll never happen.
Nope.
Rich people control everything, and that's how they hide their money. So we're not getting rid of them. I don't know if there's something wrong with the cord. Or the USB port in the computer. I moved it to a different port, see what happens.
Oldest trick in the book. Unplug it and plug it back in.
So Ralph will come on tomorrow.
Okay. So my mom was at the Pride Festival in Naples, and some Moms Against Guns thing. So she's over for dinner Saturday. I'm just like, so what is it that they're for? And she just started talking. I'm like, no. What is it? What are they trying to do? She got super pissed. She couldn't come up with an answer. I'm like, so what do you, I'm trying to what are you supporting? Well, they're trying to do that. What is it they're trying to do? Then my wife got mad at me because I was mean to my mom.
Weren't mean to your mom. You asked her a very simple question.
Sterling got whacked by a foul ball Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And 2 outs in the ninth. Or up the side of the head.
Took it hard. That's a pretty hard shot.
Yeah. Did you hear the audio? Ow. Ow.
Oh, I was thinking about getting it. It was really funny.
Felipe, just food for thought. If you're ever thinking about getting audio for the show, get it and let us tell you that it's not worth it. And I'm being serious because that stuff's all usable.
Yeah.
We do 4 short segments every hour. That middle segment short. That's a segment.
He goes, swung on and fouled right to me.
Boom.
Oh!
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour. Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us, so to speak. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. How about the Blades? Man, oh man. They were a 4th place team in the regular season, for goodness sakes. They just destroyed people in the playoffs. I mean, Idaho had 34 more points than they did in the regular season. What is this, the Panthers and the Bruins? Man. A sweep, Mark. 3rd championship. Back to back.
Back to back. That's remarkable. That's a really tough league to get back-to-back champions. So much turnover and things of that nature. Brush has always done a great job of getting a quality team. And I would, if you put truth serum to Brush, I don't think he would have expected a playoff run like this.
Well, they had a much tougher regular season than the last few years. Now, they had, decent changeover from last year's team. Got McCarron back midway through the season. But, had the goalie. Same guy. It's pretty good. And by pretty good, we mean Jersey probably going to go up in the rafters good. So, they destroyed Idaho. Well, I don't know about that. They swept them. Okay, the games were tight. Okay, but they won all of them. Idaho lost 11 times this year, Mark. They lost 11 times. Blades beat them 4 times in basically a week. They won their division by 42 points. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I asked Craig Brush, by the way. I joked about it on Friday. I go, well, if they win, don't you have to ride off in the sunset? So I text him. I go, hey, congrats. Incredible job. I go, it's got to be about time to ride off into the sunset. And he just said, I don't know. I'm kind of a lifer.
Are you kidding me? Are you nuts? That's
come
the
on.
easiest job on the planet. He's got a guy running marketing now that's doing a great job. And Chris Palin does a terrific, terrific job. They've got that thing wired for sound. They're doing concerts like they were 10 years ago now, as far as the building being booked.
Yep.
He oversees it. He's not hands-on with that stuff. He's just sitting above having people. He's always been that way. He's let people do their jobs. The rec side kills it.
Mm-hmm. I just thought that there was an emeritus.
And riding off into the sunset. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Let's take this 6-figure job and say, you know what? I'm not going to do it anymore because I'm working so hard.
I thought there was a chance for him to, still get a decent paycheck. Get that whole emeritus thing, Mark. Emeritus. Athletic director.
Anymore. It's not his buddy that owns it. It's Hoffman. He's got to answer to somebody now.
I don't know. He's done pretty well for Mr. Hoffman in the short time that he's owned it. But see, you know what he should have done? He should have done like LeBron. He should have just talked about retiring. We all know LeBron's not going to retire, but just by LeBron talking about retiring, it'll probably force the Lakers to do a move or two that the Lakers would prefer not to do. But LeBron's just letting you know, hey, I don't have much time here. All right. Don't be afraid to trade that 2029 first round pick. Okay. Do what you got to do.
Keep the team name the same. Don't change it into the mighty whatevers. That's all I ask, huh?
So guess, coming back, going for the three-peat.
Of course he is.
We are genuinely shocked, and we don't follow the team as closely as we once did, but we are genuinely surprised that the head coach is still here. I mean, he's done a really good job everywhere he's been. And they're starting to move guys around a little bit in the NHL, and actually, the minor leaguers and the assistants have a little bit more of an opportunity to get gigs than they've ever had before. And I'm genuinely surprised he's still here.
It's not that easy, though.
I know. There's only so many gigs, and people don't give them up. And
do you want to be an assistant to go up? He's the head coach. Do you want to take that back seat? And is it the right back seat if you're going to take it?
Well, and I'm guessing what's also hurt him and helped the Blades is that this is their third different affiliation in like a 5-year period, isn't it? They went from Carolina to Nashville, and now they're Florida. Whereas the best chance for players and coaches to get promoted is to, put in more time within your system.
Well, and he's not, he's a Blades guy. I mean, that's the other thing, that he's not sent here by the Florida Panthers to coach their ECHL team. He's a Florida Everblades employee.
Right.
And in the AHL, a lot of those assistants are, they're all NHL guys. So the movements, it's hard to move from the AA level up. It's just difficult.
Right. Well, and a guy that we knew well, Jerry Fleming, he had to leave the Blades and he went to be an assistant at the A. Okay. And eventually got a head coaching opportunity at the A. Don't think he ever made it as an assistant in the NHL, but, he had to leave here to do that. So that's why it's great for the Blades, obviously. I mean, why the hell would they not want, Brad Ralph to come back? Why would they not want McCarron to, if he wants to show up midseason next year, show up midseason next year.
But I do think McCarron and the goaltender, really good chance that they become 4 and 5 as far as numbers in the rafters.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, and place was SRO, baby. That joint was jumping. It was basically SRO on a Wednesday night, and it was definitely SRO on a Friday night. And we've talked about it. The job that organization did, at 15 years ago, we had the real estate recession, and then, FGCU with Dunk City, and it kind of pushed the Blades down a level on the sports page, if you will, where, they went from being sports and entertainment to just entertainment. And, how much is this going to hurt them? Well, they're not what they were the first 5 years of the franchise, because obviously newest thing in town, you guys, you had a year or two where you sold every ticket to every game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But this is their best run since the first 5 years of existence.
Since Hoffman bought the arena, the arena's been, cleaned up completely. The new scoreboard. No, they do a tremendous job.
Awesome.
As someone who worked there and was told not to come back by them.
Right.
They've done an amazing job.
So much so, quite frankly, that like if you and I were running things at FGCU, at some point, don't you have to steal somebody from that organization?
Oh, I would have done it a long time ago.
Well, right. But I'm just saying, don't you, or at the very least, if they're not going to go, say, listen, I got to pay you a bunch of money. Can we have like an all-day seminar? I'll pay you. We need some help here. And you guys know how to market.
Well, the universities never approach sports the way the Everblades have. They've always just, put a sign out in front of the school that says game tonight, expecting 5,000 people to, well, there it is. That's what I'm doing.
Wait, you're telling me those signs don't work? Right
I
out
want
in front of
I want to pick them up and throw them away. Every time I drive to Costco, I have to drive by the university. And I go to Costco a minimum of once a week. And I see them out there. I want to stop the car. I want to get out and I want to throw them away. To say it looks minor league is a disservice to minor leagues. It looks like a rec sport. Game tonight. What is this, the junior high team playing? Is this St. Alfonso's pancake breakfast? What exactly is this?
I bought pancakes for dinner last week. I'm just saying.
Did you go?
I did.
You went breakfast for dinner.
They had a food truck. Once a month, the food truck comes to the condo development. All right. And I hit the food truck every month. It's something different. What the heck? Besides, I eat out all the time anyway. To me, wait, I can walk to this takeout meal? This is fantastic. All right. So it was a food truck I've never seen before. It was just breakfast and lunch, no dinner. Yet when was the truck coming to the development? For dinner, right?
Hey, breakfast for dinner is better than dinner for breakfast.
It's an age-old argument, and I disagree. I know I'm the only guy that sits on this side of the fence, but when I was a kid, my parents, unbeknownst to me, decided we were going to have pancakes for dinner on a random Wednesday night in the summer. I shut all the curtains to the house so our neighbors couldn't pierce in and look and see that we were eating this horrible meal for dinner. So pancakes for dinner or pizza for breakfast? Yeah. Riddle me that one over there,
But
Felipe.
I can give you so many other alternative examples that are way better. Like
no.
Like eggs and a hash brown for dinner
or pizza for breakfast.
Or like rice and chicken for breakfast.
No.
Rice and curry chicken for breakfast?
Pizza for breakfast versus any of your breakfast meals for dinner.
I think we know the hill Mark's willing to die on here. And
it's pizza for breakfast, damn it. Undefeated, untied, unscored upon.
All right, LeVar Ball.
By the way, I will say, combining everything we've talked about in this segment, remember when FGCU had that 8 a.m. game? Okay. Honestly, if I was them, I'd do one of those every year. Okay. I would. It'd be our thing. Now that whole 24/7 promotion has gone away, if I was FGCU, that's how I do, an early season game every year. You book so-and-so and you let them know, by the way, that's not 8 p.m. That's 8 a.m.
I think other schools would jump on board because I would be on at a minimum, it would be on ESPNU.
Absolutely.
That's called marketing your team, doing something different, making a brand for yourself. They could even have a sign in front of the school that says breakfast this morning with the basketball game.
Remember what they called it? Breakfast on the beach.
Then they should probably get in front of the Lonnie Kai, put a hoop up and do it at Fort Myers Beach. If you really want to take this to the next level, you do the game outdoor at the beach.
You mean kind of like when they take college basketball to like those, destroyers?
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wow. The Seattle Seahawks will win their division, huh, K-Girl? That's a bold prediction right there. Bold. Someone just asked, are the Blades a bigger deal than FGCU? And I said yes, and they shouldn't be.
Oh, absolutely, they are.
Do you like that? Put a sign in front line?
Oh, it was outstanding.
We still on in the offices over there?
Oh, yeah. Especially since they're not doing any work anymore. Okay. Hell, the university's running the athletic department right now. So Saquon's talking about holding out. Talking about pulling a Le'Veon Bell, not playing this year.
And so's Jacobs talking about holding out. Josh Jacobs not signing the tag.
Good luck with that.
Right. I'll just take San Francisco and let you take. I'd almost let you have the field, K-Girl. That's how confident I am that San Francisco wins that division. How many AFC coaches are going to be on the hot seat if they don't make the playoffs, if you know what I mean, of the good teams? If you're in Miami or the Jets, there's going to be good teams that miss the playoffs.
Well, the Chargers guy will definitely lose his job if they don't make the playoffs.
Mr. Boutte, does it matter? LOL. We really expect Geno to have another year like he did?
Here we go.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts and a pick on tonight's Game 5 of the NBA Finals coming up in a little less than 20 minutes. So, Dalvin Cook officially was released after our show on Friday. And he's out there, and reportedly, he ain't going to take a $4 or $5 million deal just to go play for a year somewhere. He'll take an $8 million deal with incentives to make more than that, but he ain't taking a $5 million deal. Saquon Barkley has finally spoke over the weekend. He had a football camp. A lot of current Giants were at it, too. Some coaches even showed up at it. And Barkley threw out there, it's possible he'd sit out the year, that he feels disrespected. It's a matter of respect.
That, by the way. I mean, good luck with that, because it works out really well in the NFL sitting out a year. It's been proven. They'll get a lot more money down the road. Oh, that's right. In fact, it will crush your career.
Now, reportedly, first off, apparently Saquon's unhappy that the Giants have leaked out some info. And I could understand that. That would, bother us too. It could bother all of us. You're not going to believe this. The Giants or any team playing the PR game. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking that they give their side of the story to the beat writers. I can't believe that. Just like the day will come where Saquon's agent gives their side of the story to the beat writers. It'll be a shocking development. So the word, for what it's worth, Mark, is that the Giants have offered up to $14 million a year, which would make him the third highest paid running back. But apparently Saquon doesn't like the guaranteed money. That the Giants aren't offering enough guaranteed money. And listen, you could argue it either way. Obviously, when he's healthy, he's very good. He's played 5 years. He's only really had 2 full seasons. So you could argue it either way. Is he worth the money? Yes. Okay. Is he dependable? Depends. Twice. Yeah. The other 3 years? So running backs, we've seen the market, Odell got paid. DeAndre thinks he's going to be paid to some degree. Now, right now, the money is, doesn't seem to be the Ravens-Jets bidding war for Odell. But we'll see. Defensive tackles and defensive ends have been able to get some money here. Do you think these if you're the Dolphins, you stacked your running back room not expecting a Dalvin Cook to become available. And now all of a sudden he is. And he wants to play for you. Do you go, can never have enough good players. He's better than what we got.
There's no doubt that you do. The problem is, I don't know how how many running backs they could just cut now and be done with. But that's a lot of money. If you're going to have to pay Cook that kind of money, you've already paid Hill that money. I don't know if they can afford it.
Well, for this year, they could, you can make it work in 2023. But now all of a sudden you look at your running back room and you go, man, we're spending a lot of money at this position. I mean, if you're somewhat meeting Cook's demands and you're giving them at least 8, their whole room was a unrestricted free agent. They had to re-sign the whole group they had last year. Now they're all making modest money. They're all making in the 2.5 to 4.5 range. Now, I think you and I both think that the NFL has gotten a little too stingy at the running back position.
Absolutely.
But I'm just saying, if you're the Dolphins here, Dalvin Cook wants to play for you. You do not have a running back as good as Dalvin Cook. But this is not really where you want to be spending the money that you have. But is he too good to pass up?
There's part of me that says he is, because we all know they want to run the football more.
Well, that's what the head coach has said. He said, listen, I screwed this up last year. I went back, I looked at it. We averaged over 4.5 yards a carry, and I hardly ran the ball. That's my fault. I'm going to run. 2 things I'm going to do better. I'm going to run the ball more, and I'm going to get the plays in faster. They were both on me. Okay, coach.
So if that's the case, then I've got to try to figure out how to bring him in. Because as you mentioned, he is, to me, light years better than what you have in that room. That's a difference maker. That's a guy that you can put in there and not worry about your running back position. So I would make the move to get him, David. Especially if he wants to play for me.
And he does. It's going to be a pretty unhappy room, though. I mean, that's the other part that we're working on here. That, all those guys agreed to resign because they're like, A, we're going to get more carries than we got last year. The coach told us, to my face, we're going to get more carries. And the top 2 guys they brought back are operating under the assumption they're going to be 1A and 1B. Okay, then I'm coming back. Now, all of a sudden, Dalvin Cook shows up in June. Uh-oh. Yeah, I got to make my $2.5–3.5 million, but I ain't going to play much. I'll tell you that.
And cutting him is the easiest, but it will cost you the most.
Right. Yeah, all the deals they did, by the way, they can't unload these guys and not take cap hits right now. They did short-term deals with running backs. I mean, the money's all but fully guaranteed. How about this scenario, by the way, if you're the Giants? Do you sign Dalvin Cook and let Saquon walk? Now, I don't think Cook is Barkley. I mean, if they're both healthy, I think Saquon's better. I think he's a full notch better. I think Dalvin's in the bottom 5 of the top 10. Saquon's in the top 5. Maybe a healthy Saquon might be top 3. But he's definitely top 5 in my book.
It's hard for me to give him top 5 because he's not been able to stay healthy. I can't. You're right in what you say, but how many games am I going to get him like that at?
And last year, he's like, you got all my games. I had 1 major knee injury. And the Giants like, well, you had this and you had this. Okay. So, and then
by the way,
got
Josh Jacobs is hinting that he might not sign his franchise tag as well.
Right. I'll tell you what, I don't know. Do you have any idea what the Raiders' plan is? The Vikings and Raiders, which one do you think has a more coherent plan?
Boy, that is a terrific question, David, because those are 2 teams that are literally trying to bottom out.
Vikings won 13 games last year. If somebody could explain to us why it is they're trying to get worse, we'd really like to know.
Listen to someone try to give an explanation to it over the weekend, David. And their line was basically that they came to the conclusion that the franchise realizes that they're a lot worse than they are. That they're a lot closer to a 7-10 team than they are to a 13-4 team. And that it was time to start this rebuild now. As we've pointed out, with the Packers and Bears in the worst shape that they've been in together combined in over 30 years.
Over 40. You got to go pre-Ditka with the Bears. You really do. You have to go late 70s, very early 80s to have the Bears and Packers together be considered both sub 500 teams.
And the Vikings decided this is the time to tear it down.
Right.
With no real improvements on the other side of the ball.
So tell me how the Lions are going to screw this up again.
If there's a way they can do it, David.
I understand that. But if this doesn't end the Lions' jinx, curse, whatever it is, then they're done forever.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Take care, Carol. So would you be concerned, Mark, if you worked in the Millennium Tower in San Francisco and engineers said that the lean has gotten worse? The tilt.
Yes. KW, my fishing trip got canceled because of weather, unfortunately. Yes, I would be. I'm wondering when they're going to have to implode the building.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Sampson will join us on the show tomorrow, as will Everblades head coach Brad Ralph. Talk about his championship. He was fishing today. He made his fishing date before we tried to book him. So we'll get him tomorrow. Talk
Good
about
for him.
Yeah. Talk about going back to back, winning another Kelly Cup. Congratulations to he and the boys. That's how they say it in high. I'm not part of the team. I'm not allowed to say him and the boys, right? I got to say,
no, you can.
Congratulations to him and the, Everblades. If you're part of the team, you could say, well, me and the boys. Tried to work in a touch of Canadian there at the end. Me and the boys.
Well, with the Canadian winning the Canadian Open. First time since, 1954?
Yep, 69 years. Weir lost in a playoff one year to VJ. Weir, it was I think it was shortly after he'd won the Masters. He's at the top of his game, packed place. VJ playing the roadest of road matches you could play. And VJ beat him in a playoff. And like I said, I'm sorry, as they were shaking hands.
It was getting that way a little bit. There was obviously one guy they were rooting for. When Amanda sits with Nick Taylor there after he wins that thing, and, she has two questions. I thought it was a great interview. She says, she goes through the 69 years since the Canadians won this. Can you put it into words and there's more to it. Can you put into words what just happened? He looked right at her and he went, no. I applaud his honesty. And then he gave a little answer after about how, shocked he was and just awestruck by the moment. But I thought she did a great job. She gave a follow-up. It's the best their golf coverage that I've seen in quite a while. And we've been pretty hard on CBS's golf coverage. I thought they had a really good Sunday. And
it is remarkable, the technology that they've brought now to golf broadcasts. They knew that was the longest putt that he's ever made in his PGA Tour career. That he had never made a longer putt. And he makes it to win his National Open.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
David, we start 1880 when the Worcester Ruby Legs, behind pitcher Lee Richmond, throw the first perfect game in Major League Baseball history with a 1-0 win over the Cleveland Blues.
Okay, they were the Worcester what again?
Ruby Legs.
Ruby Legs.
Right.
Do we have any idea what that is? A ruby leg?
Yeah, just red. Like the Red Stockings. I mean, they were all something, they were.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I'm thinking, is that any relation to a chicken leg? No?
No.
Okay.
More jewels. 1894, the first British Open played outside of Scotland at Royal St. George. 1919, Walter Hagen wins the U.S. Open. Today in 1923, Harry Houdini frees himself from a straitjacket while suspended upside down 40 feet above ground in New York City.
Yeah. That's what I did after lunch. What did you do today?
Capone indicted today in 31. The Baseball Hall of Fame is dedicated in Cooperstown today in 1939. Today in 1942, as a birthday present, Anne Frank gets a diary.
Whatever happened with that?
In 48, Citation wins the Belmont to win the second Triple Crown ever.
And then we wouldn't have another one, no Secretariat, right?
Right. Hogan wins the U.S. Open at Riviera today in 48. Bill Haley and the Comets release Rock Around the Clock today in 54. Cleopatra, starring Elizabeth Taylor, is released today in 1963. At the time, it was the most expensive film ever made. Mandela was sentenced to life in South Africa today in 1964. Sonny and Cher make their first TV appearance on American Bandstand in 65. The Bond film You Only Live Twice premiered today in 67. Doc Ellis throws the no-no today in 1970 against the Padres.
High on LSD, right?
He was tripping his brains out.
So he claims.
Today in 79, the Tigers hire Sparky Anderson.
Like 8 minutes after the Reds got rid of him, which was dumb.
Dumb. Raiders of the Lost Ark premiered today in 1981. That same day, Larry Holmes TKOs Leon Spinks in 3 for the WBC heavyweight boxing title. Mariah Carey's debut album is released today in 1990. The Bulls beat the Lakers today in 91.
That was Michael's first.
Yep.
That's the scene, him on the floor of the locker room, clutching the Larry O'Brien trophy, crying, with his dad just rubbing his back.
2002, the Lakers sweep the Nets. 2009, at the Joe, Pittsburgh beats Detroit 2-1 for their third championship.
Yeah, but that was the Game 7. That was the first road team to win a Game 7 in 31 years.
Mavericks beat the Heat for their first title today in 2011.
Felipe, you need a moment?
You okay?
I was there.
I did not know that.
I was there. I was at that Game 6. It was one of the saddest sports scenes I have ever seen in my life.
What are you, like 11? 10?
I was 10. About to turn 11. I will never forget that. And I will never forget Dirk putting the Heat away.
Mark, he's fourth going into 5th grade. That's like one of those earliest sports memories, too.
Yes. Terrible.
Today in 2015, Dave Grohl falls off the stage and breaks his leg during a Foo Fighters show in Sweden. He gets medical attention but returns to finish the show. Maybe the most rock and roll thing in a long time.
He could play hockey on my team.
Damn right he could. 2016, Pens beat the Sharks in 6. 2017, Golden State wins in 5 over the Cavs. And in 2019, the Blues beat the Bruins in 7. George H.W. Bush, Anne Frank, as I mentioned earlier, and Jim Neighbors all born today. Not many people alive with birthdays. Mark Calcavecchia, 63. Ryan Klesko's 52. And Dallas Clark's 44. And that's all I got today, David.
By the way, HW 41 would have been 99 today. Well, there's a few things. Medgar Evers was assassinated on this day 60 years ago. It was on this day in 87 that President Reagan said to Mikhail Gorbachev, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. That was 36 years ago. It was 29 years ago that OJ killed Nicole and Ron. He killed them the night of the 12th. He was taken into custody on the 14th. I've seen different dates. Wasn't yesterday mentioned as the 7th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting, but it happened at like 2 a.m. So I think technically it was the 12th, which obviously would have been 7 years ago today. And that's pretty much it.
Mark, I might have missed it. Did you wish Drew Holiday a 33rd?
I did not.
Happy 33rd birthday to the Druth. Jay Holla, Kung Fu Drew.
Wait. Hold on a second. You just went 3 nicknames for the second best player on the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yep. Most underrated player in the league.
Really?
My
That's
man.
not possible. I've listened to Michael Malone of the Denver Nuggets. Okay? There's no way the most underrated, underappreciated player team is anywhere but Denver, Colorado.
All right, Jamal Murray. Underrated.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Naples, where Elsmar Ars and Bud Edwards golf. But they're the two of the guys that are always off in the woods with their ball retrievers by the lakes, fishing for balls, which annoys most of us when we're playing golf. But it turns out that they give all the golf balls to the pro at the course, and he donates all of them to First Tee. They have donated more than 14,000 golf balls to the First Tee group. So good for them.
Nice.
For the bad, we go across the pond in the royal family. Because this rehearsal for Chucky's 75th birthday is causing guards to pass out one at a time. Have you seen this?
I have.
Let's call the birthday party off and save the guards. Are you a man of the people or not, Chucky?
Well, first off, he's not a man of the people, for goodness sakes. They call him king.
Yeah, whatever. Chucky.
And secondly, here's what I found amazing. If you read about King Charles long enough, you'll realize that the dress rehearsals for his birthday party are somehow Harry's fault. It's amazing.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Little Canada, Minnesota, where pigs are on the loose after a semi-truck trailer that was carrying 50 hogs overturned, causing an hours-long shutdown on Interstate 694. More than 50 pigs spilled onto the road. From the sounds of it, a couple of the pigs didn't make it.
Right. They were bacon. Right. Mm-hmm.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly. on today, June the 12th, 2023. I do have one quick follow-up for you, David. My good was those big rubber ducks in Hong Kong last week, the 10-meter tall ducks. One of them's deflated.
No.
Down goes the duck.
Paul in our Twitch chat room wants to remind me that OJ was found not guilty. Well, in one of his 2 trials. Yes, he was. There are 8 Major League Baseball games going on tonight, Mark. 8. Both the Marlins and Rays in action, but you're going to have to stay up for them. They both don't start till 9:40. We'll say this, though. The games could be over by midnight. That's not bad. Not bad. When you're done with Game 5 of the NBA Finals at a little before 11 o'clock, you could switch over to about the 6th inning of either the Rays or the Marlins. The Marlins in Seattle, and the Rays are in Oakland to face the red-hot Oakland A's, who've won 5 in a row. Even though their winning percentage is 25%.
Right. If you just, they're 17-50. They'd be 34-100 and still have 28 games left to play.
The Rays, by the way, who are sending Zach Eflin to the hill, overwhelming favorites, nearly minus 300. Don't you have to just throw a flyer on Oakland? I mean, they're playing out of their minds. I understand that the Rays starters 8-1 with an ERA sub 3, and the A's starters 1-6 with an ERA over 7. I get that. Don't you have to throw a shekel on the A's tonight?
I'd take the points in the Heat before I'd do that.
Okay. Miami getting 9, by the way, 8:30 on ABC. By the way, college baseball, we got 2 games. Winner goes to Omaha. Loser goes home. Southern Miss and Tennessee at 6. Texas and Stanford at 8. And I think that Texas-Stanford game is going to determine who wins the Learfield Cup for like best athletic department. So there. So ESPN2 for Southern Miss and Tennessee at 6. ESPN at 8 for Texas and Stanford.
It's something for Television B to watch since there's no early Rays game tonight. I don't know what I'm going to do without a 6:40 Rays start.
You laying or taking the 9 tonight?
I think I'd take the 9. I still think the Nuggets win, but I think the Heat are going to play as good of a game. I mean, obviously, at the end of the season, if they lose, they're done. I think you're going to see a great effort out of the Heat tonight. I just think the Nuggets are better.
They are. I agree with you. I'd lay the points. I think they cover late. I do expect a Tyler Hero sighting tonight. Miller and Moulton. David Sampson tomorrow. Thanks for listening.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters.